Good evening and welcome to LFS for the biggest game in European football, the 2026 Champions League final, as reigning European champions Paris Saint-Germain take on Premier League winners Arsenal at the Puskas Arena in Budapest to see who will take the crown in 2026. PSG and Luis Enrique reached the peak of the mountain this time last season in thrashing Inter Milan 5-0 to claim their first Champions League title, and now looking to do it all over again. For Arsenal, they find themselves in the position PSG were in 12 months ago, looking to end their wait for a Champions League triumph. The last time Arsenal got that chance was 20 years ago, but is this year their year and their chance to get it over the line? This evening we watch the best attacking side in Europe in PSG take on the best defensive side in Europe in Arsenal, and it's live here on LFS with a kickoff in around about 10 minutes time. Currently in the Puskas Arena, the Killers are opening the show with the opening ceremony of the Champions League final, of course. The new vibe that we get from these this competition now, but there is a look at where these two sides have come from in their semi-finals. But let's take an overall look at the knockout bracket. Of course, this feels like a long time ago when the round of 16 was decided and we were watching PSG thump Chelsea. Arsenal find their way past Bayer Leverkusen in the last 16, and then it progressed where PSG repeated their tie of last season in the round of 16 in the quarterfinals this season against Liverpool, this time easing past the Reds a lot more comfortable this time, and Arsenal found their way past Sporting, albeit though it wasn't an easy task, but they did get the job done with the only goal over the tie from Kai Havertz. And then it came down to the final four. Who would find their spot? Who would take their place in the final? In the end, it turned out to be Arsenal and PSG. Arsenal doing it the dogged way against Atletico Madrid, and of course PSG just outscoring Bayern Munich over the two legs. An incredible semi-final tie that was, and it set up the showpiece event for 2026. PSG against Arsenal in the 2026 Champions League final. Well, the road to Budapest wasn't plain sailing for the European champions, like it was really last season when they kind of just scraped into the knockout playoffs last season. They kind of did something similar this season. They got off to a perfect start, 3 wins from their first 3 league phase games, but that defeat to Bayern Munich might have just unsettled them a little bit. They bounced back with a Spurs victory and then struggled to the end of the campaign with just 2 wins from the last 3 league phase matches. They finished 11th and on 14 points after those 8 games. So it was knockout playoffs again for PSG, and French opposition once again. This time Monaco gave them a very tough test. 3-2 victors in the first leg and a 2-2 draw in the second, meaning PSG just scraped their way through. But they made easier work of Chelsea in the in the round of 16. 5-2 victors, quite incredibly, in that round of 16 at first leg, and then a 3-0 win at Stamford Bridge in the return leg. A comfortable result against Lamar Senior's Chelsea back then. And then came the repeat of last season's knockout tie, PSG against Liverpool. This time in the quarterfinals, Liverpool were down and out really from the first leg, 2-0 down from the first leg, and they thought they had survived. They thought they still had a chance, but as they did last season. PSG came to Anfield and conquered and progressed, and then Bayern Munich 5-4 in that first leg, an absolutely sensational first leg before that 1-1 draw in the second. That late Bayern Munich goal might have just snatched something, but it was too little too late. For Arsenal, much more plain sailing, really, it seems. 8 wins out of 8 in the league phase. Absolutely dominated the early part of the campaign, beating every team they faced in the early stages. Excuse me. Becoming the first side and only side to win all 8 of their league phase matches in the new format. 24 points, first in the table. Only conceded 4 goals in their first 8 games. And then when it came to the knockouts, they had an easy path. The round of 16 saw Bayer Leverkusen, albeit from the first leg they snatched a late draw, but the second leg they turned it around and comfortably beat the Bayer Leverkusen at the Emirates. Then it was more late drama in Lisbon when they needed a 1-0 victory to oversee Sporting, and a 0-0 draw at the Emirates just got them through. And an even tougher task when they went to Atletico Madrid in the semis. And again, a 1-1 draw from the first leg, but a 1-0 win in the second secured their spot in the Champions League final for the first time in 20 years. Massive, massive moments. And when it comes to that, well, these are the situations in the last 5 Champions League finals. PSG absolutely trounced their way past Inter last season, but Real Madrid beating Dortmund in 2024. Manchester City, they were first-time winners back in 2023 against Inter. Real Madrid snatching it away from Liverpool in the 2022 final. And in 2021, an all-English affair. Chelsea against Manchester City, and Chelsea claiming their second title. So that is the last 5 finals, which only one team has scored. The winning team scoring in each of those games. Obviously, the other team not scoring. But when it comes to English teams and what Arsenal could be on the edge of here is a bit of history in the fact that these are the 5 separate teams, 3 different clubs, but 5 separate teams that have done the League and Champions League or European Cup double in the same season for, of course, English sides. Liverpool were the first to do it back in 1977. Liverpool then did it again in 1984. Man United did it in 99, that treble-winning season, and then again in 2008. And Manchester City did it in 2023 in their treble-winning season. An incredible feat. And Arsenal would join that list of teams if they were to win this evening. The English teams doing the league title and European Cup or Champions League in the same season. And when it comes to this final, well, these are the facts. It's the first ever major European final between a French and an English club. The 2018 final was the last in which both teams scored in a Champions League final. Real Madrid 3, Liverpool 1. And it's the first Champions League final held in Hungary, in Budapest, of course. The first final to see 2 Spanish managers face each other. And it's the 8th meeting between the sides overall, and the 4th since the start of last season. Only Real Madrid against Man City is a more played matchup in the last 2 seasons than this fixture. And when it comes to recapping previous finals, well, of course, PSG's second final, and was their winning one, was this time last year. A 5-0 thumping of Inter Milan in that game in Munich. An incredible, incredible display. And here is just a little taster of what happens. Here's the ball across and the tap in for Achraf Hakimi. And Paris Saint-Germain have broken the deadlock. It's tiki-taka at its best. And PSG open the scoring in Munich. Inter carved open. Doué! And the deflection takes it in. And PSG doing to Inter what Inter have done to so many others. Pressing at one end, bursting away at the other, and breaking away and scoring a counter-attack goal. Doué! And that is sensational. Right into the bottom corner. The third ever youngest scorer in a Champions League final. He's not got 1, he's got 2. And PSG have 3. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a 4th, and does so. Mayulu again, and he rifles it in. He finds the back of the net, and the substitute makes it 5. There's the full-time whistle, no added time. It's caught us off guard. It didn't catch PSG off guard tonight. They're the champions of Europe. Fabulous. Munich is the venue of destiny. Paris Saint-Germain have done it. They have at last conquered the mountain, and they reign supreme. The 2025 champions of Europe are Paris Saint-Germain. And that was an incredible night for PSG, but a night to forget really in the end for Arsenal. Back in 2006, their one and only ever previous Champions League final, and they lost to the mighty Barcelona back 20 years ago. Despite taking the lead with 10 men, Sol Campbell opened the scoring, but Samuel Eto'o and Belletti turned it around for Barca, and the imperious Barcelona made it 2-1 victors on the night. But 2 decades on, is it Arsenal's chance for redemption, or is it PSG's chance to go back to back in this competition? It's incredibly difficult to win it once. They know that, PSG. It's even more difficult to try and win it in back-to-back seasons, but they've got here, and now they have to conquer the mountain all over again and try and beat Arsenal, one of the best defensive sides in Europe. It is an absolute scene here at the Puskas Arena. One side PSG, the other Arsenal. Both passionate sets of fans, desperate for this to be their night again. Let's hope that we get an absolute barnstormer of a Champions League final. As we see the players all lining up, listening to the infamous anthem of the Champions League. Let's have a look at the 2 teams then for this one, starting with the reigning European champions, Paris Saint-Germain, looking to go back-to-back in this competition for the first time since Real Madrid won it 3 in a row between 2016 and 2018. Safonov has been the revelation in goal for them this season. He starts between the sticks. A back 4 of Achraf Hakimi, who's fit to start after his injury concerns. Marquinhos captains the side alongside Willian Pacho, and Nuno Mendes, a defence that led them to the title 12 months ago. In midfield, that famous midfield three, that we saw last season run riot against any opposition. Vitinha, João Neves and Fabian Ruiz continue in midfield, with a front 3 of Kavika Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué and Ousmane Dembele, a Doué player who won this competition last season by scoring twice in the final. Dembele, who was the best player in on the planet last season, he was the Ballon d'Or winner, but it is that man on the left, Kavika Kvaratskhelia, who has taken charge of this PSG team in the latter stages of this competition. He has risen to the challenge. Can he do it in the showpiece events? Chevalier, Marin, Beraldo, Zabarni, Hernandez, Lee, Mayulu, Fernandez, Zaire-Emery, Ramos, Barcola and Mbaye, all on the PSG bench. For Arsenal, some swapping to do with injury concerns, but David Raya, the most solid goalkeeper in Europe, certainly the best in Europe it seems on form, he starts in goal. A back 4 of Christian Mosquera at right back after Ben White has his injury out. Urian Timber is fit, but only for the bench. Saliba and Gabriel, that centre-back partnership that's led Arsenal to one of the best defensive campaigns in Europe. And Nketiah at left-back. In midfield, Declan Rice, who's run the show this season, he's alongside Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's relatively new to midfield, but has shone bright in his early appearances. And Martin Odegaard, the captain that could lead them to double success in a matter of 2 weeks. Incredible. He's in midfield. And a front 3 of Leandro Trossard, Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz, who scored the winner in a Champions League final for Chelsea 5 years ago. Could he do it again for the other side of London in red tonight? On the bench, Kepa, Calafiori, Timber, Zubimendi, Dauman, Eze, Norgard, Madueke, Moreno, Jesus, Martinelli and Gyökeres. It is really one of the most impressive Champions League finals in terms of 2 teams at the peak of their powers. PSG, one of the most ruthless attacking sides in the continent, and Arsenal, one of the toughest teams to break down. It is going to be one hell of a battle here in Budapest, and they are hungry for success. It is the 2026 Champions League final. Kickoff is next. A very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. A little bit earlier than usual on Champions League final day, but excited and ready to go. Ready for this one. the showpiece event of the season, the one to bring down the curtain on the club campaign, and it is all ready to go as Arsenal get us going 20 years on from their last foray in a Champions League final that ended in heartbreak for them that night. But can they make 2 decades of waiting come to an end tonight, or will PSG retain their trophy and do what no team has done in 8 years and go back to back in this competition? Only the mighty Real Madrid have been able to succumb to that over the last decade. It is at PSG's turn to show a bit of dominance in this competition. And you have to say that man Luis Enrique has been the mastermind behind it all in delivering what has been a sensational PSG team over the last 2 seasons. But Mikel Arteta, this has been a 6-year journey. I said it last week when they won the title. It's a 6-year journey that they've been on under Mikel Arteta Arsenal. And finally, they are on the precipice of being the champions of Europe. What a job they would be doing. What a job he would have done if they end up with a League and European Cup double in the space of a week. And they already have an early free kick here, Arsenal. Declan Rice to take. Launch with the right foot towards the box. Drop for Gabriel, who was lurking around the edge of the area, along with Nkapie, but ultimately Gabriel's header is wayward of the targets. Well, of course, I'm really looking forward to see how this game pans out. I think it's one of the most highly anticipated fixtures of the season. Of course, not only for being a Champions League final, but the last time these two met, it was very much Arsenal were just not able to get to that level of PSG you kind of felt in the semi-finals last year. It's kind of changed since then. Arsenal have shown that grit and determination. They can find a way against tough opposition, but there is no tougher than the reigning European champions. And they have an incredible record against English teams. I mean, I was researching it earlier today, and it's just absolutely sensational, PSG's record against English opposition. And, they've progressed from each of the last 5 knockout ties against English clubs. Man City were the last English team to eliminate PSG from the competition back in 2021 in the semi-finals. So they have an incredible record against English teams recently, PSG. And they want that to continue tonight. Here is Nuno Mendes. Back to Fabian Ruiz. Vitinha. Of course, both teams in their home strips tonight, which I'm sure they'll be pretty pleased. PSG, of course, in their traditional navy blue, and Arsenal in red shirts, white shorts, red socks for this one. Here's Desiree Doué, who scored a brace in the final last year, the second and the third PSG goals. As you saw from that clip showing last season's final, he became the 3rd youngest player to score in a Champions League final, and then was beaten to it by Sene Mayulu, who scored the 5th goal last season. An incredible moment, and an incredible display of the difference of PSG, the fact they had such experienced players, and I mentioned that last season, of the experience and the youth that PSG possessed, that balance between the two that's just ignited them to this, powerhouse of a team in Europe over the last 2 campaigns. Fabian Ruiz, long ball forward, cut out this time by Mosquera. Playing it right back tonight, Christian Mosquera. No Ben White and Jurrien Timber only fit enough for the bench. There was some hinting that maybe Jurrien Timber could be fit enough to start it right back tonight, but you gotta say it's maybe a risk that Mikel Arteta was smart not to take for this one. You gotta be honest, I think overall it was sensible maybe just to not make that decision and go with someone who is fully fit to play the full 90. At least, as Saka dropping a bit deeper there against Fabian Ruiz. That's going to be a free kick, and some claims should get a yellow card there, Fabian Ruiz, for delaying the restart, but the referee saying no to that. He did kind of just shove into the back of Bukayo Saka there, Fabian Ruiz. Well, our referee this evening, in an all-German officiating team, Daniel Siebert, the referee, Raphael Fulton, and Jan Seidel. The assistants and our VAR, Bastian Dankert, all from Germany. Oh, here come Arsenal on the breakaway. It's a chance in behind. It's Kai Havertz from a narrow angle. Oh, what a finish! Oh, that is absolutely unbelievable. I said it before we started. Kai Havertz scored in a Champions League final 5 years ago to deliver it for Chelsea. Well, 5 minutes into this one, and he's given Arsenal the lead. From the narrowest of angles. One of the most incredible finishes. And that is why he's in this team. Incredible start. Bursting away. And Kai Havertz finished it off. We see it here, PSG a little bit stretched defensively. And as the ball breaks, it takes a bit of a deflection. It bounces in behind for Kai Havertz, who's away on his bike. No one anywhere near him. And from this narrow angle, you think, surely he's not going to take the shot on from there. Well, he does. And it's absolutely sensational, the finish. Rocketed into the roof of the net. Incredible, incredible finish. Pacho has no chance. Safonov can't get anywhere near it. An absolute rifler into the roof of the net. What a way to start the Champions League final. PSG 0, Arsenal 1. And Kai Havertz, who scored a Champions League winning goal in 2021. And he's given Arsenal their Champions League opener in this final in 2026. When we talk about the attacking prowess of PSG, well, Arsenal have started this game perfectly against the European champions and have themselves an advantage inside 5 minutes. What a start to the night for Kai Havertz. Sensational. I mean, the finish. I mean, it's not only the fact of the quality of the finish, it's the fact that he had the calmness and the composure in that sort of position in such a difficult area to find the net, to have the composure to think, yeah, I'm going to take this on. I believe that I'll get the finish. And it's elite finishing from Kai Havertz. Sometimes this season we've been a little bit critical of him. You have to be honest, but absolutely sensational from Havertz. Unbelievable. And I have to say, that is one hell of a start. Well, he's the only Arsenal player to record multiple goal contributions in the knockout phase of this season's competition. Well, he has just added another to his tally in the biggest game of the season for Arsenal. He seems to be the man for the big occasion, and he has given them an early lead here in Budapest. Well, for a moment it looked like, you gotta be honest, it wasn't going in. I couldn't believe the fact that it had found a way in from how tight the angle was. As here come PSG with Desiree Doué down the right hand side. He's got red shirts around him, but he tries to cross towards Dembele, and Saliba did well to clear it away. Here's Trossard dragging in Hakimi, but Hakimi's got the pace to recover and sees it back to his captain Marquinhos. There was a little issue a moment or so ago for Fabian Ruiz, but seems to be up and okay. But PSG given a setback. The mentality of this team, no doubt, is that they're very rarely on the losing side of things, PSG, recently. They'll not give up with an early goal conceded. They know this is far from over and a long way to go. They're not going to have to break a record, remember. We haven't seen two teams score in the same final since 2018, so if they are going to break that duck, they're going to have to break that duck if they want to try and retain the trophy. The defence of their title is on the line here. An early setback given to by Arsenal and Mikel Arteta's team. Here is Doué. Further infield this time. Tracked all the way by Nkapie as Doué will give it back to Marquinhos. PSG dominating the Arsenal half now. Arsenal just sitting a little deeper. Here's Kvaratskhelia. Man to really keep a close eye on. Vitinha. Down the right hand side it goes. Hakimi. Back infield to Vitinha. As PSG just try and garner a little bit of control. The ball fed out to the right side. Doué. Inside to Neves. Doué back to Vitinha. Looking at a little better PSG as here's Nuno Mendes. Now Kvaratskhelia. Vitinha swings that one out to the right hand side. Doué on that left foot as he cuts infield, trying to feed it through Kvaratskhelia. Arsenal get a little bit muddled. Kvaratskhelia has it seen away from him just at the last second by Gabriel. Fabulous defending. After Arsenal got a little bit unnerved by Kvaratskelia's presence, it was a late lunge from Gabriel to see it behind for the corner, which they've taken quickly. Swung in deep round the back, headed back across. That's gone wide for a goal kick by Fabian Ruiz. Yeah. It's a little bit off there, PSG, with that move. Got a little, maybe a little bit too quick for themselves. Now, the last time that a team that didn't open the scoring won the Champions League final was back in 2014. The last 11 Champions League finals, the winner has scored first. Real Madrid were the last team to overcome a deficit to win the trophy against Atletico back in 2014. And they won 4-1 after extra time. Did Real. 12 years. PSG would need to repeat that feat. They are to be crowned champions of Europe again. Vitinha. To João Neves. Doué's come out to this left-hand side for the moment. Doué looking to lift it round the corner. The run of Fabian Ruiz. Fired across! That was a narrow angle and he put his foot through that one, Fabian Ruiz, but spun wide of the goal. Behind for a goal kick, but Doué just over to this left-hand side for the moment. Just flicks one in behind. Ruiz makes that run and he just fires at it with his left foot, snatches at it and just directed it away from goal at the last second. And it goes wide, well wide really, but snatched at it, you have to say there, Fabian Ruiz, and that's a little bit frustrating for Luis Enrique. One or two little threats there from PSG. Nuno Mendes to Fabian Ruiz on this left-hand side. Back to Mendes, who take it away from Saka and does just about hold on to the ball, but a heavy touch lets him away, although it's going to be pulled back for the foul on Nuno Mendes by Saka. It's a little bit fortunate to get that foul, in my opinion. A little bit soft from Saka, to be honest. Not much in it. Marquinhos. That's to Fabian Ruiz, who's playing out on the left-hand side. Pacho, Marquinhos, Arsenal with the press. PSG trying to move around it. Doué trying to link things up through the middle, but has to go back to Marquinhos again. The man who became the first PSG captain to lift this trophy last season. What a full circle moment it was for the PSG skipper. Been there through the ups and downs for PSG over the years and was able to have his happy moment. As Miles Lewis-Skelly gives away a foul there. Well, Lewis-Skelly giving a major bout of confidence in the fact that it's been put into this midfield in a Champions League final against certainly one of the best midfield threes that we've seen in Europe in a few years. With this Vitinha, João Neves and Fabian Ruiz link up. You know each other inside out, and it's kind of what Vitinha relayed a little in the build-up to the game about how there's so many combinations and they know each other so well now, PSG. It's almost second nature to them. That's what you have to be the best. Hakimi back to Marquinhos as PSG continue to probe into the Arsenal half, and that's fed in behind for Hakimi, who wins the corner. Beautifully done there. Marquinhos and Hakimi, little link up, and as Hakimi breaks down that right side, Marquinhos feeds the ball in behind Nketiah, and Hakimi wins the corner for PSG. Good response from the European champions. The ball swung in first time. Saka half clears it, then does get a chance to clear. They're calling for handball, the PSG players, but the referee waved it away, Daniel Siebert, and they are just going to play on for the moment. It's Fabian Ruiz. Saka tracks him all the way into the middle, and he runs out of room, given away cheaply. Here's Odegaard looking to lift it over the top, but too far ahead of Leandro Trossard, and Hakimi guides it back to Safonov. See this handball claim again. Let's see it once more. Ooh, does hit his arm, to be fair. It's maybe just a bit unfortunate. Look at the possession. 78% of the ball PSG have had in the first 16.5 minutes. 22% for Arsenal, so a real dominance in possession for the Parisians, but not converting that to attacking threat as of yet. Just one shot apiece in the first 16 minutes or so. Marquinhos. Vitinha. Vitinha drifting onto the halfway line, looking for an option, but that will be the problem for PSG tonight. If they are to find a way around Arsenal, they need to do it quickly. There's no time for waiting around. They need to be sharp and really kind of off the cuff with their play. Can't be too predictable, otherwise Arsenal will clog them up time and time again. Here's Doué, lovely little flick round the corner. Kvaratskhelia try to return the favour to Ousmane Dembele, but that's not quite worked out. Although Arsenal half clear it away, but they work it into midfield. A little bit sloppy there though from the Gunners. Given away to Fabian Ruiz. PSG just garnering much more control of the game. Feeling like they've settled now. Can they find a way to test David Raya's goal? Doué doubled up on there by Mosquera and Saka. And Saka wins the ball back. Plays it back to Christian Mosquera, who will recycle back to Declan Rice. And then back to David Raya, who sends it long. Header won by Willian Pacho. Awkward header there from Neves, but dealt with by Nuno Mendes. Interesting battle at the moment as Saliba plays it back to David Raya. Will that be the idea from Arsenal? Now they have a lead. Is it just about trying to hold on to that lead, albeit don't sit back and sit deep for the rest of the game, but just keep PSG honest, basically. Ruiz. João Neves to Vitinha. Marquinhos. Down the right hand side goes Ousmane Dembele. Very fluid that front three. Doué's now gone more central and Dembele's come out to the right. Doué, lovely little flick. Finds Hakimi. I think genuinely he's the key to this. I think last season it was very similar. Desiree Doué is the difference maker between the lines. He's been moving around in the first 19-20 minutes, trying to find those gaps, those pockets of space to pick up and play through balls and just kind of knit everything together. And he's done it a couple of times just without the end product afterwards, but PSG look dangerous when Desiree Doué is involved. It's no coincidence, as Ruiz's clearance might turn into be a bit dangerous. Gabriel has that one dealt with, sees it out for the throw-in. Well, as I said, PSG are looking to become the first club since Real Madrid to retain the trophy when they won it 3 years in a row. Real Madrid back in 2016, 2017 and 2018. They've also made more Champions League final appearances than anyone else since the turn of the decade in 2020. This is their third final in 7 editions of the Champions League final since 2020. They lost to Bayern Munich in 2020. Of course, they beat Inter last season and now play Arsenal this season. Here's Vitinha. Looking to lift one round the corner, but that's far too much on it and easy for David Raya to retrieve. And ultimately, no danger from PSG once again. Well, for Arsenal, only 3 English clubs have won the top flight title and the European Cup or Champions League in the same season. Liverpool did it twice, Man United did it twice, and City did it 3 years ago. Arsenal would join that exclusive list if they were to win this Champions League final tonight. Mine's Lewis Skelly. Under a bit of pressure here. Finds a lovely reverse pass into Kai Havertz. Trossard inside to Havertz. Around the corner looking for the pass. Did just about keep it in, but it's seen out for a throw-in. That will go PSG's way. João Neves charging that throw in down the right flank, but again Arsenal first to everything at the minute. Seems to be the difference. Arsenal, good grit and determination. Seemingly the better team so far despite all the PSG possession. João Neves, 2-8. Little caught out there, but he takes it down. Vitinha, first time ball around the corner. Dembele trying to make a nuisance. Does well to find Kvaratskhelia on the left hand side. Haven't seen much of Kvaratskhelia so far. Trying to flick it round his man, but he gets outdone by Mosquera, and Mosquera does really well to win the throw-in. That's fabulous from Arsenal. Really, really fabulous. And we haven't seen much of Kvaratskhelia so far, as we just going to have a drinks break for the moment. Kvaratskhelia has struggled to get in the game, and I think really Dembele too. I think PSG attacking wise, yes, they've had a lot of possession, but we haven't really seen much danger from them. Desiree Doué's probably looked the most dangerous, and it's mostly been in build-up play for him, not really in the final third. The best chance for PSG came when Fabian Ruiz broke in behind and he struck, but nothing too dangerous from PSG so far, and that will frustrate them, that will annoy them, but it won't surprise many, because Arsenal are the best defensive side of Europe. I mean, it's no coincidence. You know, they're in an incredible situation defensively. I'm just trying to find the stat. They hold the best defensive record this season, Arsenal. They've conceded just 6 goals in 14 Champions League games this season. That's a 0.43 per game goals conceded. They remain the only side to have not conceded a goal from open play in the knockout stages this season. I mean, absolutely incredible. The fact that, you know, they are so solid. And it's not the fact that maybe they have individually the best defenders in the world. It's the fact as a collective, they just all buy into the same narrative, all buy into the same idea, and they all work off each other. And as I said with PSG a little earlier, with Vitinha mentioning they kind of know each other inside out, this Arsenal defence, albeit it might not be the same personnel every week, sometimes it could be a little bit kind of changed, but they all buy into the same principle, they all have the same ideas, and they all know what the other is going to do. They know each other inside out, and that is why they're so strong defensively. They have great quality players, but their system works. They work as a team, and when a back four is in sync, it is incredibly difficult to find a way past them, and a back four that have proved it so many times this season in Arsenal that they can hold teams out and the best attacking sides. And as I said, PSG, are the best attacking side in Europe. There's no question about it. But it's not just about that. Arsenal have that lead, and it's now a bit of pressure on PSG where they have to score. And they haven't really found themselves in that sort of position previously where they've had to score. They've just had that freedom. So it's a different idea tonight. Here's Bukayo Saka. Swung into the box. Oh, the keeper came and didn't get to it. And they just scramble it away. Ashraf Hakimi with the clearance. But Safonov's taken a knock in the middle, which is going to stop the game. But Saka's delivery, Safonov couldn't stop it. And Havertz was in the middle already to pounce once again. Fabulous delivery by Bukayo Saka. The whip on it. It's actually Trossard that was in the middle. And Safonov does really well in the end to get something to it. He couldn't take the ball in, but he did well to take it away from Trossard. And then he took a knock on the way through, but it's another example of how PSG have looked a little bit off it so far. And Arsenal have been able to capitalise. Already a little bit of a worry. Chevalier, of course, on the bench for PSG. Safonov being checked up on, so why we have this stoppage? Well, the last team to reach back-to-back Champions League finals before PSG was Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool in 2018 and 2019 finals. They're the first team to do that in 7 years. Back-to-back finals. This delivery by Bukayo Saka is absolutely sensational. Trossard did really well to get into that area, but Safonov, incredibly, somehow it evades the Belgian in Leandro Trossard, and Safonov does incredibly well to make the stop, but took a knock on the way through. There's a very famous Arsenal manager, Arsene Wenger, of course, who took Arsenal to their only previous Champions League final back in 2006. There's the Portugal head coach, Roberto Martinez. Lots of high-flying dignitaries watching on in this showpiece event. It's a real kind of festival across Europe, and Champions League final as big as it's ever been in terms of a spectacle. It's absolutely incredible. I have to say, English teams have done incredibly well over the last number of years. This is the 6th time that the Champions League final will have at least one Premier League representative in it in the last 9 seasons. Absolutely sensational stuff. English teams have really had a very strong spell in this competition. Are we about to see a new English winner? A new winner. If Arsenal were to win it, it will be the 3rd new winner in 4 seasons. PSG were the new winners last year, and Man City were the new winners in 2023. The game back underway. Safonov okay to continue, which is what we like to see. PSG in a real battle in the middle. The battle they're not winning really at the minute. Vitinha does well there though to bring it down. Marquinhos. Pacho to Nuno Mendes. Finding Kavika Kvaratskhelia. Mendes going inverted. Looking for the flick. Out to the right hand side. Beautifully done. Finding Ousmane Dembele. Off the right side. Bricks into the box. Dembele. No way through. Bricks back to Hakimi. Now Dembele again. PSG players trying to penetrate the area, but Arsenal flooding the box with their players. Defensively, Dembele again. Going for the early cross this time. Gabriel clears. Doué recycles. It's PSG build up again. Pacho. All that. There's a player down in the box here for PSG. So they're down to 10 for the moment as there's a player on the floor in the box, but they're calling to stop the game. PSG playing on for the moment. Here's Hakimi on the right. Back to Ousmane Dembele. It's Nuno Mendes that's down in the middle. Dembele with a little flick. João Neves takes it into the path of Doué. He tried to evade a man. He went down. Arsenal trying to scramble it away. And then Capier does clear it. But Doué went down under the challenge. Nuno Mendes was already down from about 30 seconds earlier. Daniel Siebert just stopping the game now with the ball out of play, and Nuno Mendes is slowly but surely getting back to his feet. See this moment again. He did go down. Kind of just collided with Gabriel, really. Not much in it. And then the Doué challenge. Yeah, it's never a foul. Wonderful defending. Nuno Mendes up and okay. Just over a half an hour gone in this Champions League final. Arsenal leading by a goal to nil through Kai Havertz's early goal after just 6 minutes, giving the Gunners the lead. PSG have had so much possession but so little threat. You kind of feel that if they do find that groove, that's when Arsenal should be worried. So far they haven't, as Raya got a little bit risky there trying to come for that ball. Cleans it out for the throw-in. PSG quickly get it back into play. Kvaratskhelia to Nuno Mendes. Vitinha now. Marquinhos. Down the right-hand side, Dembele. Hakimi on the overlap. Dembele again. Looking inside, can't find a man, finds Vitinha as he cuts it back. Now Nuno Mendes out to Fabian Ruiz. Mendes again. It's all about recycling the ball from side to side for PSG at the minute. Not much room to manoeuvre in the pockets. Dembele trying to lift. Again, it's headed away from the box just to retain possession by Hakimi. Marquinhos, now Vitinha. No penetration from PSG, very blunt to this point, but they need to find a moment. Fabian Ruiz. Vitinha. Hakimi. Going more inverted. Doué on the far right. Cuts back inside. He's not got much room to manoeuvre. João Neves comes back to try to help out in the build-up. Vitinha. Going to flick one round the corner. Hakimi to Dembele. Back out wide though it goes. Kvaratskhelia has drifted over to the right as well. Dembele though is readying up for the shot, then clips it over the top and too close to David Raya. You kind of feel though all that about a minute or a minute and a half of possession from PSG just really led to very little. It was the ball that eventually did find its way over the top. There was just a wasteful pass. A little bit of room here though. Doué on the right. Gonna eke out a bit of space. Gets a block by Nkapie. It will be a corner. Starting to rack up the corners. PSG so far. This is their third corner. Only 3 corners of the game have come for PSG as they take it short. Back to Vitinha. It comes again. And now Nuno Mendes got the space to shoot. He's going to lift it into the box. Going to evade Willian Pacho. Cleaned away by Arsenal. It's all about maintaining the rhythm for PSG, and Arsenal just want to disrupt it a little bit. Keep the ball out of play. Break the play up as much as they can. Over in the corner. Hakimi down the right side. Swinging it in early. Went down under the challenge was Dembele, but dealt with by Gabriel. Back into play again from PSG. Just over 10 minutes to go with the first half. It's a lot of PSG probing, but Arsenal defending resolute, as you would expect. Hakimi. Back to William Pacho. Everybody getting involved in the build-up for PSG. The little layoff there from Nuno Mendes. Stolen away by Declan Rice. He was surrounded, but he does well to find Mosquera. Now finds it Saka down the right. He was bundled over by Nuno Mendes. That's going to be an Arsenal free kick. It just seems like Arsenal have PSG where they want them at the minute. PSG just getting frustrated by the fact that Arsenal just have their number at the moment. We're able to see them off with ease and then buy a foul, get a foul out of them, just break the game up. They're playing right into their hands. That's really positive from the Gunners, though. They have that in them, the fact that they don't need to sit deep and sit 10 behind the ball. Declan Rice over this Arsenal free kick. Hand in the air from Rice. Right-footed delivery, swung towards the box. Header is lofted over the crossbar. There's a foul in there anyway. It's a free kick. Foul on Fabian Ruiz. Well, of course, as I said earlier, this is the first ever major European final between clubs from England and France. A record that won't be broken tonight. There's only been one Champions League final that has ended goalless in the 33 since the inception of the Champions League back in 1993. AC Milan Juventus in 2003. We're not going to get that here. That was known pretty early. Here's Vitinha. Here's Ousmane Dembele. Shot blocked well, but it's still alive. Kvaratskhelia was there, but that's cleared away, and then Trossard further clears. Fabulous. And with every clearance, another roar from the Arsenal end here in the Puskas Arena. Loving their team's defensive attributions so far. Doué does well to keep it alive here for PSG, but then gets bundled over and not given the foul. 8 minutes before half time. PSG 0, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal, despite less of the ball, seemingly in control of this game. Look at that, nice run from Saliba, all on his own. And then still finds the pass to Kai Havertz. Just about gets the layoff, as he will play the advantage, the referee. Nketiah, Trossard. And we'll just play it back to Gabriel. Lewis Skelly. Arsenal, a team purring at the moment. Ball. In the left-hand channel, that's out of play there. This will be another PSG throw. Well, Arsenal the only unbeaten side in this season's competition and have been behind for just 43 minutes. All of those 43 minutes came in the first leg of the last 16 tie against Bayer Leverkusen, in which they drew 1-1. Vitinha. Marquinhos. Down the right-hand side. Here's Hakimi. João Neves. Now Vitinha. Marquinhos. To Willian Pacho. A lot of possession, but very little danger from PSG. Very little threat. How can they change that? Hakimi. For the little drive to the byline. Lifts it across, a little high. Will drop behind Saliba. Picked up by Kvaratskhelia. Gives it back to Nuno Mendes, who will swing it in round the back again. Headed away by Gabriel. As Havertz tries to shield it. It will be a PSG throw-in as Havertz tried to evade Hakimi and get in the throw-in. They kind of collide there. And got a little out of control, really. And Kai Havertz knew what he was doing, but Hakimi just trying to get to the ball. Completely accidental from both. There's nothing in it. He's just trying to get to the ball, and Havertz just gets in his way. I mean, there's nothing in that. Don't like it. don't like it at all from Kai Havertz. Bit of play acting. It's always part of the Champions League, though. You always say it, but I don't like it. Not a fan of it. It's something out of nothing with that one. 5 minutes to go then, in the first half of the 2026 Champions League final. And it's all plain sailing for the Gunners so far. Kai Havertz's goal inside 6 minutes separates the two. Marquinhos. Ruiz. Who's more direct into the middle to find João Neves, but again seen right back to Fabian Ruiz, who then sprays it down the left hand side for Nuno Mendes in a bit of space here. He can measure one, just couldn't find Dembele, but it will fall its way here to Hakimi, who makes an absolute melee of that one. Terrible pass, but PSG looking a little bit more threatening now. Vitinha, João Neves down the right hand side. Hakimi back to João Neves. Space just opened up there for PSG a moment ago, and Dembele did find Hakimi, but Hakimi with an awful pass just broke the attack down, allowed Arsenal to get away, but the danger and the space was there. Vitinha. Kvaratskhelia. Such fluidity in this PSG team. They're not set in their kind of formation positions. They're all very fluid. They can all move, interchange position. Inverted, can come inside and outside. Switch sides. I mean, it's such fluidity. Fabian Ruiz. Marquinhos. Hakimi down the right side, bodies in and around the box, finding João Neves in the pocket, but again straight with a backwards pass. Vitinha. Kvaratskhelia got a little bit more central here, trying to open up with his right foot, has to take another option, finds Ruiz, then Mendes on the overlap, chasing Mosquera around the back to the byline, cuts it across, trying to clear it, and over the crossbar it goes from Fabian Ruiz. Well, that's the first time really we've seen PSG really test the Arsenal defence, and it's really actually well worked. They create the they close it down in the centre, Arsenal, which just leaves a little extra gap wide. They work it to the overlap of Nuno Mendes, who just beats his man 1v1 on Christian Mosquera, and as he delivers in, and Cappier tries to clear it, gets a little bit awkward, and as it falls to Fabian Ruiz, who just couldn't keep his header down, sees it go over the crossbar. But a little bit better from PSG, a little bit more threatening. Able to maybe just adjust Arsenal where they wanted them there. Just didn't have the finish on the end of it. Ball forward here. Gabriel to head away, followed up by Lewis-Skelly, but straight out of play for a throw-in. There's no question about who's dominated possession, but PSG maybe, just maybe, starting to find little gaps in this Arsenal team. Might just start emerging as the half has progressed. Zire Doué, the fabulous touch. Here he is here with a bit of space to Zire Doué. Options ahead, finds Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia breaking onto his right foot, surrounded by red shirts. Has to play it back to his captain. Into Ousmane Dembele. Bit of space on the edge as he goes for goal. Sends it flying over the crossbar. But getting those little half yards of space now, PSG. There's a man who cannot rest. Thierry Henry. The man who played in the last Arsenal Champions League final in 2006 and so famously pictured after that defeat 20 years ago. Nicely worked there, comfortable there from PSG, but really well won back by Declan Rice. Fabulous challenge. Trossard couldn't find the first time ball towards Ødegaard. It's going to be 6 added minutes at the end of the first half, so quite a long time, of course, with the drinks break and then the injuries. We've had 1 or 2 little injury problems, but 6 minutes added time. And he says no way, and I thought this was on later. Who scored? Well, Kai Havertz scored for Arsenal. Just 6 minutes. Yeah, it's an earlier kickoff this year. 5 o'clock kickoff it was this season. In the final. Oh, Safonov coming about 20 yards away from his goal there. 30 yards, heading it into space. As James says, Arsenal have defence locked up so far. PSG haven't been able to find a way through them. Will that change before half time? Here's Kvaratskhelia. Back to the edge of the box, finds Vitinha. Dembele. Dembele lifting it into João Neves. Back to Ousmane Dembele, but Arsenal get their bodies in the way. Neves throws himself to win it back, but Arsenal scramble it away from the 18-yard area again. Nuno Mendes. Down the line to Kvaratskhelia again. As they've done all the way throughout the half. Recycle, probe and push PSG, but no way through. Here's Desiree Doué. Marquinhos to Vitinha. Into Doué's path. Drifting and driving! Hits the shot from range again this time. Again, like a couple of his predecessors from those shots. Skying it over the crossbar. Yeah, poor finishing so far from PSG. They've got the shots off. They've started to get the shots off, but the finishing has been poor. Arsenal, certainly 1v1, have been impeccable defensively. And then those must-make challenges, they've made them time and time again in this first half. It's been a fabulous defensive display from the Gunners. They go in at half-time as it is. It'll be a perfect first 45. A goal, and so defensively solid. Barely giving up a chance to PSG. Incredible. PSG team that have scored 44 Champions League goals this season. Oh, they're in behind again here, Arsenal. Kai Havertz again. Opportunity into Safonov's hands, though. Well, Havertz had another chance. This time it was stopped by PSG, but for a split second he could have had a brace. Goodness me. Goodness me. They were so close to making it 2-0 there, Arsenal. Ball out to the left-hand side. Kvaratskhelia. Back to Nuno Mendes. Now Vitinha. Just short of 3 minutes to go with the 6 added. PSG 0, Arsenal 1. It's a nice direct ball through the middle and touched behind by Kai Havertz, who will put it behind for the corner. Racking up the corners, PSG. Haven't really posed a threat really from set pieces either. As the referee for PSG ticked the corner, just sorting 1 or 2 things out in the box. Fabian Ruiz and David Raya. Of course, international teammates. Here's Dembele to tick the corner. Right-footed delivery, it's swung away from goal. Saliba gets it clear, but Nuno Mendes again recycles. Vitinha lifting it out to the left side. Fabian Ruiz fires it towards Raya, who couldn't catch it first time, it did the second. Caught it sweetly there, Fabian Ruiz. Real bullet of a strike. Beautiful catch on it. Lovely connection. David Raya was able to do enough. Kept 9 clean sheets this season in the Champions League. No goalkeepers ever kept double figures. He's able to keep PSG out. He will have that record at his helm, David Raya, the most clean sheets in a single Champions League campaign. Last minute of the first half then. Fabulous challenge by Marquinhos to stop that Kai Havertz chance a little earlier. Just one shot on target for both so far. But the difference that Arsenal have been able to find the net from theirs, PSG haven't. And Arsenal with a throw-in chance here, high up the right-hand side, with 30 seconds to go with the half. Declan Rice will take. Another one of these long throw situations coming. Declan Rice launches into the box. A lot of height on it. Flicked around the near posts. Not fully cleared by PSG, as it will be seen behind for a corner. Kai Havertz wanting more, but a corner is given by Daniel Siebert. See this again. Yeah, it did come off the head of William Pacho. It is a corner, and their first of the game for Arsenal. Bukayo Saka will take at the PSG fans' end of the stadium. Oh, it's the halftime whistle. The referee has had enough. Well, this is a bit of a surprise. He said time run out. There's no time to take the corner. He gave the corner and said, do you know what? There's no time to take it. Half-time whistle goes, and he told Bukayo Saka you had to hurry up. No time to take it, and at half-time, Arsenal will certainly take this. It is 1-0 to the Gunners at the break. The reigning European champions, as it stands, are being stripped of their crown, but it's only halfway to the task. Half-time in Budapest, it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this, and Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions, and there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. welcome back to the 2026 Champions League final live here in LFS. Thank you very much for joining us for this one, the final game of the club season. And at the moment, the reigning European champions are behind in Budapest against Arsenal. Kai Havertz's goal after 6 minutes has the Gunners in front at the break, but a big second half to come to see if the European champions can turn it around and find their way to back-to-back titles, or, well, for the second year in a row, we have a new Champions League winner. We'll find out very shortly, because the second half is on the way next. Do stay with us. And on top of the second half coming on the way in a moment. The 2026 FIFA World Cup gets underway in less than 2 weeks' time. 12 days' time until we get the first game of the World Cup. Mexico, the co-hosts, take on South Africa Thursday, the 11th of June, as we get underway in the World Cup. Just 12 days away. Cannot wait for that. But we have 45 minutes of the club season remaining. And in the showpiece event of the season, in the Champions League final, the difference between the sides, just the one goal. Kai Havertz's goal after 6 minutes separates them. But as there is a long way to go. PSG, who've controlled a lot of the game without much penetration or threat in the final third. And this Arsenal defence has lived up to its hype coming into the game. They're the best defence in Europe. Well, they have played a strong first 45 minutes, but there is still time to go, and time for that to change. European champions won't go down without a fight. Arsenal will know that. And PSG players already out for the second half. Arsenal just emerging from the tunnel for the second period. And the stat that I mentioned in the first half, I don't know if I really kind of made the most of it when I mentioned it, but the team that opened the scoring has won each of the last 11 Champions League finals. The team that has scored first. And Arsenal have the lead. And scored the only goal of this game so far. That could be the omen. And as we come out for the second half, ready to go. 45 minutes away. Header, the last man out of an Arsenal persuasion. Can he mastermind this to victory for Arsenal from this point? Kai Havertz gave an English team the winner 5 years ago. Will he do the same in this one? We're underway then for the second half. PSG get us going. And the reigning European champions, who've looked a little bit lacklustre and a little bit blunt further forward. Can they ignite themselves into action in the second half? Spark themselves into life? Doué. Kvaratskhelia. Trying to dribble his way through out to the left side. Ball swung in early. Seen away by Gabriel. Already PSG trying to pose a threat. Defended that really well. Arsenal got a throw in out of it, but really good moment from PSG right from the kickoff. Dangerous delivery by Fabian Ruiz that was dealt with by Gabriel. And the referee is having none of this. We saw it in the first half, at the end of the first half, where Arsenal took too long to take a corner and the referee blew the half-time whistle. Well, he's not happy that Christian Mosquera has taken quite a long time to take the throw-in, and he's given him a yellow card. No nonsense from Daniel Siebert, the referee. And Mosquera, the first man in the book of this Champions League final. Safonov. Marquinhos. Ball couldn't find its way for Doué to bring it down as Saliba breaks forward. Doué in the challenge. Doué committing the foul. Free kick to Arsenal. And this is kind of the trap that PSG found themselves in early in the first half. All down the line from Rice to Trossard. Back to Declan Rice it goes. He swings it in early. Headed away by Marquinhos. Taken in by Rice. Now Trossard. Back to Miles Lewis-Skelly. Lobs one forward. Looking for Trossard. That's headed out of play by Achraf Hakimi. Capier dealing with that situation from the throw-in. Now has Havertz on the left side. Even the deflection goes the way of Arsenal there as Trossard takes it in. Now Rice. Good possession from Arsenal. Got a little bit caught out there. It's an Odegaard trying to link up with Rice, and they kind of got caught in each other's toes there. As PSG are able to retrieve with the throw-in. Can PSG spring into life? That's the question mark that everybody has on their lips. Whether or not Arsenal can get this job done. Long way to go though. Vitinha going on a little mazy run of his own here. Vitinha, and he's trying to squeeze it through for Nuno Mendes, who's got on the end of it. Mendes back to Vitinha. That's as dangerous as PSG have looked, and they just charged straight at Arsenal there. That's a good strong challenge by Pacho. A little bit better from PSG. Doué on the left. He's got Rice for company. Doué swings it in with the right foot. It's deep. It's too deep. And that one's seen behind for a goal kick. But a little bit better. Vitinha there. We've seen a lot of Vitinha in that first half. We just kind of recycled play and stayed in that central position. This time he picks up the ball and decides to go on a little mazy run. He drives forward and kind of catches Arsenal out a little bit. They don't know how to react. And as the ball comes to Nuno Mendes, made that central run with the inverted role that he's played. Got into a good position, but still couldn't get the shot off. But marginal gains for PSG at this stage. Marquinhos. Pacho. Into Vitinha. Vitinha. Held on to the ball there. Pressed by Arsenal, but does well to work out of that little chink of space. Finds Kavika Kvaratskhelia. Much more central from him too. Kvaratskhelia guides it out to the right hand side. Finds Dembele. He's got Doué on the run on the outside. Dembele tries to take it on himself there against Nketiah and runs into the Arsenal left back. PSG able to quickly retrieve the ball. And Gizajob says it's Arsenal dominating. Well, they're not dominating Arsenal. PSG have had a lot of possession, but Arsenal have that crucial goal. That is the difference. As they'll get a free kick here. Achraf Hakimi brought down by Piero Nketiah. Yeah, it was smart there. Achraf Hakimi knew he wasn't going to make a pass off and decided just to settle for the foul, which he knew was coming. And we are doing World Cup streams. 12 days to go until the World Cup gets underway. We'll guide you from the very first game all the way through to the final. We won't have every game live because that's physically impossible, but we will have quite a lot of World Cup games, and we'll let you know closer to the time about our schedule. But looking forward to that. 12 days time we'll have the opening game, Mexico against South Africa. Throw in here for PSG down the right. Well, the question mark really will be, it's whether PSG can get into this game, but it's whether that if they do get into this game and find an equaliser, what will Arsenal's response be? Well, there's someone on the field, I think. Actually, it was a foul throw as well. Top of that, that's why the game was stopped for the moment. It's a fun off again with that header from range. It's twice he's done that in this game. And it's one hell of a game to try and do that sort of audacious moment in. Come 30 yards from your goal and head the ball in a dangerous area, but done it calmly so far, so fun off. PSG, lovely movement with the final ball towards Doué. Just couldn't find a link up. And Raya retrieves and thumps it away from danger. Bouncing ball. That's going to be a PSG foul. Vitinha brought down there by Leandro Trossard. It's beautiful, I have to say, defensively from Arsenal. Saka dropping in, helping Mosquera to double up on Kvaratskhelia. He's had not a sniff tonight to this point. Not a chance at all. Here's Ousmane Dembele on the right side. Lays it into the path of João Neves, who made the extending run, but his ball across was a little awkward. Doué does well to win it back, challenging Saka, who wins the ball back fairly. And now Odegaard, although it's going to be pulled back. Doué stayed down, and the referee's going to pull it back for a free kick and a yellow card. Saka's going to get a yellow card. That's upset the Arsenal players, and I can understand why. It looked like the referee was just playing on, and then he decided to change his mind and decided to give the free kick the way of PSG. I don't think there's much in that, really. They both go for the ball. Yes, Doué did get it initially, but then the ball bounces away from both, and Saka gets up first. I think there's a foul in that, in my opinion. A little bit lucky there. Saka very unlucky to get a yellow card for that. Free kick here to PSG nonetheless. Andy says the Gunners are stopping PSG play. You thought no one can stop PSG. Said after the draw, if anyone can, Gunners can't. It's a masterclass to make PSG look average. Well, you have to say, defensively, they've been so solid, Arsenal. We knew that would be the case. We knew that it would be defence v attack, and so far defence is winning out for the Gunners, but it added to that the fact they have a lead themselves. So it's not only the fact that PSG need to score to win, they need to score to level this game. Stop Arsenal from winning it. Kimi will shoot from range. That's an effort. Comfortably caught by David Raya, though. It was wisping towards that bottom left corner, but Raya was there to get in the way of it. Decent effort from range from Achraf Hakimi. Havertz wanted a foul, but not given there. PSG down the left-hand side. They're building a head of steam here, the Parisians. Doué on the left-hand side. Made a manoeuvre again. Kvaratskhelia just being marked out of the game at the moment, these players. Only able to get 1v1 because they're not facing one player, they're facing two. Sometimes even three. João Neves. Hakimi. Vitinha. Now Nuno Mendes. Down the left-hand side, Desiré Doué. He can unlock the door. I kind of feel he is the one that can unlock the door for PSG. That's lovely from Nuno Mendes. Again, gets a little excited. Kvaratskhelia has to rescue something out of it. Wins the throw in, but PSG have just really looked hapless in the final third of the game. It's really bizarre. They just haven't been able to get into rhythm. I said that earlier. Here's Kvaratskhelia. He's got a little bit of a break here. Ball across. Too high there for Achraf Hakimi. He wrestles Trossard off the ball. No foul. Fabian Ruiz now, he misplaces a pass. Doué on the charge. Trossard all the way back to his goalkeeper, who does get rid, but PSG again trying to pile on the pressure and Arsenal getting away as Pacho goes down under a challenge from Kai Havertz. And they kind of feel they're getting a little bit hard done by here, the Arsenal players, by a few of the refereeing decisions. Again, another soft one in my opinion. We see this earlier free kick for Achraf Hakimi. Decent effort. But the bounce just helps David Raya to retrieve it. Ruiz. Vitinha. Wide to Hakimi. Inside to Doué. Wide to Hakimi. Back to Fabian Ruiz. Lots of PSG movement. Lots of passes. Not a way through Arsenal just yet. So the edge closer to the R mark inside the Puskas Arena in Budapest. Ball forward. Mendes made the inside run, but took Saka down in the process. That's going to be a Arsenal free kick, which gets a bit of a sarcastic cheer from the Arsenal fans. Yeah, definitely a foul. You got to say though, if Arsenal do go on to win this, and it's a big if because there's still a lot of time left and PSG still have so much quality that they can in a split second tear you apart, but if they do, it will probably be one of the best defensive displays they've put in all season, because yes, Arsenal are so strong defensively, but we're talking about a team that has so much individual brilliance and such team cohesion, as well as the European champion status. Everything you would expect would be, if Arsenal can win this, they would have had to play to their very best, and so far defensively they've been at their most incredible best. Still a long way to go. Dembele. Wonderful from Ousmane Dembele. Again, in the wrong area of the pitch for him. Not where he wants to be using his skill and quality. Rice in with a challenge, throwing his body on the line to win the ball, but he didn't win it that time. It won back well by Arsenal, although there is going to be a foul. Saka committing the challenge. Well, Mikel Arteta is getting very frustrated down in the sideline about these decisions. Yeah, it's definitely a foul. There's no question in that. I mean, Saka just stretches his leg across and clotheslines João Neves. I mean, it's definitely a foul. No question about that. Here is Fabian Ruiz. 60 minutes surpassed. 30 to go. That's a lovely ball around the outside. First chance for Doué to break in behind. Doué across. Again, Arsenal first to deal with that situation and get it away. Space opening up though. João Neves rolls it round the outside. Kvaratskhelia 1v1. Likes to clip it across. Blocked for the corner by Mosquera. Better though from PSG. More dangerous. Feeling the momentum build a little bit from PSG. Oh, took a real scrape there. Kvaratskhelia. Ball whipped in. Punched away by Raya. Hakimi. Recycled by Vitinha. Lots of bodies in the mix. Further forward for PSG, but we'll recycle it for the moment. Doué on to Kvaratskhelia. Lays it on to Dembele. Lovely skilled. Kvaratskhelia goes down. It's a penalty to PSG. The referee is being absolutely berated by the Arsenal players and the PSG players, who want even more of a punishment than a penalty. But penalty given. Kvaratskhelia and Dembele with a wonderful link-up. And Kvaratskhelia hooked to the ground. And the referee, Daniel Siebert, points directly to the spot. Let's have a look at it again. I have to see a replay, but the combination play from PSG was sensational. The 1-2 give and go between Dembele and Kvaratskhelia was absolutely perfect. And Mosquera gets completely caught out. He tries to stretch to win the ball. Kvaratskhelia gets around him, and it's a penalty all day long. It's an individual error from Christian Mosquera, but it's a penalty nonetheless, in my opinion. No question in my mind. They are checking at VAR just to ensure the correct decision is found, but in my opinion, I think it's a penalty. I think the combination play from PSG is beautiful, but Christian Mosquera, in my opinion, just gets caught out, and he kind of panics, tries to get to the ball, and he just catches Kvaratskhelia. And after a quick check, VAR have confirmed the on-field decision of penalty as Kvaratskhelia gets patched up. Remember, he took a big scrape. I mean, his shin was showing. I mean, the first layer of skin was taken off his shin. It's getting patched up. I mean, it's really smart play. It's fabulous from Dembele and Kvaratskhelia. Absolutely perfect. That's what I mean about that individual quality that PSG possess. They can kill you in a split second. And one little tiny lapse of concentration from Mosquera and you're beaten, and sometimes you're just nothing you can do about it. Individual quality, and PSG have a penalty and a chance for the European champions to level it in this tie. Well, it's never a foregone conclusion, but you gotta say, can they tie it up? Opportunity then. They've given 5 penalties this season, PSG. They've only scored 2 of them. Is that a damning stat, or will they make up for it in the final, in the key moment? Ousmane Dembele against David Raya. Dembele scores for PSG. Fabulous from Ousmane Dembele. The coolest man in the Puskas Arena. Slots it in the bottom left corner. Tears stream from those PSG fans. They're only level in the game, but that is a huge goal. Raya denied the record, and Raya couldn't deny Ousmane Dembele a leveller from the spot. PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Level pegging in the Champions League final. And we've got a blockbuster final 25 minutes incoming. Unbelievably taken penalty. I mean, Raya dives the wrong way, but it's the calmness of Ousmane Dembele. I said it earlier about his composure. He's a fabulous, fabulous player in the final third, no doubt about it. It's not been his season, but he's come up with a huge goal and a huge moment for the European champions. And they are back on terms in Budapest. PSG 1, Arsenal 1. And that's going to trigger some movement from the Arsenal bench. And Christian Mosquera, who made the mistake for the penalty, he's been subbed by Urian Timber, who was deemed fit enough for the bench today. Well, that could have made a difference, but I don't want to be too harsh on Mosquera. I mean, it's just absolutely wonderful from Arsenal. Anybody, even the best players in the world, can get caught in those positions. It's not an embarrassment. And they made another sub here, Arsenal. Martin Odegaard's been replaced by Victor Gyökeres. So a double Arsenal substitution. Timber and Gyökeres on. Odegaard and Mosquera are off. 24 minutes on the clock. That remains until 90 minutes hits. And now we're back to level pegging. Well, well, well. Well, well, well. Well, I remember talking about Ousmane Dembele last season. And what I said last season was he's arguably the best player on the planet. Only last season's best player on the planet has come up with a huge moment for PSG when they need him to most. When he needs to most. And PSG find a crucial leveller in this game. It's getting to the point where you kind of felt, is it going to come? Or are they going to find a way to really just stop themselves, really, in that mental battle? But his 8th Champions League goal of the season, his 20th overall. I mean, it pales into insignificance compared to the 33 that he scored in all comps last season. 46 goal contributions, but I mean 31 isn't too bad either. It's not an awful season considering it's been disrupted by injury, but compared to his tally in the Champions League last season, 8 goals and 6 assists, he's equalled that of what he did last season. So in terms of this competition, he's on par. And PSG are back on level par. But can they use that foundation to kick on and turn this around? João Neves. Back to Willian Pacho. Nuno Mendes into the space for Désiré Doué. Now they're picking the pockets here, and Arsenal being dragged into positions they don't want to be in. Doué flicking one out beautifully to Hakimi. Hakimi trying the early cross, blocked by Nkapie. PSG corner. Have they woken themselves up now? Have they come alive here, PSG? Come alive in the right moment. Dembele takes the corner short, fired into the box towards Doué, who's on the edge. Doué trying to use his footwork to break past Arsenal. Stood still for the moment as he rolls it back to Hakimi. Lays it out wide to Dembele. He will try and swing one in. That's a deep cross, but just a little too much on it from Ousmane Dembele. Goal kick it will be. Yeah, Pacho was the target, but just too much on that. And a fabulous finish from the penalty spot. Well, that's their 45th goal of the season in the Champions League for PSG. That has equalled the record for the joint most in a single Champions League campaign in history, with Barcelona, who scored 45 back in 2000. If they score another PSG, they will hold the all-time scoring record in a single Champions League season. In the Puskas Arena, it's not a stranger to big European games, of course, while we have this drinks break. They hosted the 2020 Super Cup between Bayern Munich and Sevilla. And of course, the 2023 Europa League final between Sevilla and AS Roma. But this one, surely the biggest of them all. Definitely the biggest of them all. And a little unique one. I love little unique stats. This is the 4th Champions League or European Cup final to feature 2 managers from the same country. The first since Hansi Flick and Thomas Tuchel met in the 2020 Champions League final, of course. Hansi Flick of Bayern at that time, and Thomas Tuchel also of PSG, funnily enough. But it's the first time that 2 Spanish managers have faced each other in a Champions League final, which actually took me by massive surprise. But how will Arsenal react now to being pegged back to 1-1, back on terms, and now having to do it all over again to find a lead? A lead they held for almost 60 minutes. Now it's a reset. Less than 20 to go on the 90-minute clock. The next 20 minutes, decisive in these two teams' seasons. Here's Trossard, no way through. Vitinha there, shakes him off and lays a beautiful ball out to Désiré Doué, who just couldn't keep it in play. It's a fabulous ball by Vitinha, but Doué Not like him to not have the first touch. He got it all wrong there. As I said, it's the 8th meeting between the teams in all comps. Their head-to-head record is actually perfectly balanced. Oh, Raya gets a little bit open here. He's giving it away cheaply. Hakimi to Dembele. Dembele in the box, trying to dribble his way around. And the shot straight down and wide. He gets a little bit under pressure there, Raya. Lays it away, a little bit loose, and Hakimi feeds it into Dembele. Dembele tries to break onto his left and back onto his right. And the shot struck wide. As I was saying, their head-to-head record is perfectly balanced. 2 wins apiece and 3 draws in their 7 previous meetings. Here come PSG down the left. They're the team in the ascendancy. Kvaratskhelia onto his right foot. Has to turn backwards to João Neves. Vitinha. He will hit one from range. And that wasn't too far away from the Portuguese. It was travelling just over the crossbar in the end, though. Got a great whip on it, though. I had David Raya a little worried. Well, this is Arsenal's 63rd game of the season. That's a club record. In the last 46 years, the last time they played more than 63 games in a season was when they played 70 games back in 1979-80 season, when they played 70 games in one season, which is mental to say the very least. That stands as the club record, the all-time club record for Arsenal of 70 games in one season. Unbelievable. Another record they hold, which they don't want to hold, but they've played more games than any other club, Arsenal, in Champions League history without winning the trophy. They've played 225 games and have never won the competition. That's the most of any team that has never won this competition. It's their 226th, the end to that reign, that run, and the start of their reign. Fabian Ruiz. Wide to Kvaratskhelia, back to Fabian Ruiz. Vitinha. Now back to Willian Pacho. Hakimi. Marquinhos. Cross to the right, left-hand side for Nuno Mendes. Popping it around here, PSG. Vitinha. Unbelievable crossfield pass. So effortless when he does it. Hakimi, though, gets caught out by Nkapie. A little bit loose as Trossard does really well. Finds the gap. Has to reverse first. And gives it to Lewis Skelly at the halfway line. Back to Trossard it goes. Stayed central. Gets caught on the ball there by Desiree Doué, but wins the free kick out of it, does Trossard. 15 minutes to go. PSG 1, Arsenal 1 at this rate. Extra time would be needed to separate them. Remember, if it is level after 90, extra time and then possibly penalties to decide a winner. Quarter of an hour remains. David Raya will take this Arsenal free kick. Goes short with it. It's worked out to the right side. Saka. Inside to Havertz. Open the scoring in this game. Goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. Raya, who will launch forward. Bouncing ball that will drop. And Pacho could get a clearance, but not confident. Just got rid of it there, Pacho. As best he could. Trossard. Gyökeres. Gyökeres back to Leandro Trossard. Reversing it into the area. Headed away by Pacho. Back to Trossard. Arsenal looking more dangerous all of a sudden. Here's Nkapie wide. Swings it into the box. Has to come out to the far right hand side to be retrieved. Timber. Saka. Saka Onto his left, blocked by Kvaratskhelia. Lewis Skelly in a difficult position, heads forward, flick forward by Rice, drops into the box. Pazzo got it away. Just in a split second. Saka, back come Arsenal. No way through though. PSG scramble it away from danger as Kvaratskhelia gets the break of his man, and they could be away here. PSG. Kvaratskhelia is through. Kvaratskhelia holding off his man, finds it. Oh, hits the outside of the post, I think, from a deflection, and it goes for the corner. But Kvaratskhelia at his mercy. Goodness me, PSG were close there. See this, it's just a breakaway. It's absolutely done. Is it William Saliba? Kvaratskhelia just charges in behind, and from the narrow angle takes a deflection, and onto the post it goes. Lewis Skelly got the block, and PSG get the corner, which they've already taken. Mendes. Doué swings it in with the right foot with venom. Headed behind for another corner to PSG. This time Jurrien Timber gets his head in the way. Another PSG corner. They've racked up the corners tonight. Nunegard looks a little nervous. Corner delivered in. No, that's far too much on that one from Dembele. Tried something different, didn't quite work. Goal kick. Well, Kvaratskhelia has the most goal involvement of any player in the Champions League's knockout stage this season. 10 goal contributions, 7 goals and 3 assists in the knockouts, and he could have had another there. Deflection onto the post that denied him. Rice though, good take and spin, finds Saka, bodies in the box. Saka couldn't find a way through, and Mendes clears. Saliba does well 1v1 against Dembele. Oh, Lewis Skelly gets caught on the ball by Doué, and Doué's trying to break away. Desiree Doué hung on to by Lewis Skelly, and fabulously Lewis Skelly gets back and in the way of Desiree Doué. That is sensational. Well, Doué stole it away from him, but Miles Lewis Skelly, the recovery pace was absolutely incredible, and does fabulously to win the free kick out of that. I mean, that's sensational. I'm going to make some changes here, Arsenal. They've already made a double switch. Going to go to another couple here. Couple of attackers. Oh, the ball's going to drop here. Trossard couldn't get the clean connection on it in the final third. It's end to end all of a sudden this game. Both teams want to win it. Who's going to get the key moment? Achraf Hakimi. Down the right to Dembele. Back inside it goes. Fabian Ruiz. Vitinha. Last 10 minutes of this Champions League final. PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Will a winner be found in the next 10? Or will we need more time? At the moment there's still plenty left in this. Marquinhos. Down the right to Hakimi. Back it goes to Fabian Ruiz. They recycle it again, PSG. They've done it all night. Had more threat in this second half. Marginally, but more threat. Dembele. Finding it on to Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia drifting and dribbling. No way through there as he was surrounded by red shirts. And charge on from Jurrien Timber, who was breaking. He run into trouble and gives it away. Vitinha finds a bit of space here. Desiree Doué on the left. Breaking into the box. Doué trying the cross. Blocked. Another corner will come. Got a little bit happy. There Jurrien Timber charged forward, run into space. Gave it away a little cheaply and then was caught out. They worked it out, Arsenal, and put it behind for the corner. I'm going to make a double sub, it looks like here. Well, the PSG fans much happier than they were from the first half. They've been the team in the ascendancy since they found the leveller. Lewis Skelly was down there. Referee again sorting one or two little issues. I think it was Lewis Skelly and Marquinhos that kind of collided in the mix. Corner then for PSG. Ousmane Dembele to deliver. Swung in with the right foot. It's narrow! And it's over the crossbar by Willian Pacho. Perfect delivery. Not the right connection. That's going to trigger a double Arsenal sub, so we're going to see Martinelli replace Trossard and Saka be replaced by Noni Madueke. So Trossard and Saka off. Madueke and Martinelli on. As Saka, I was just watching Saka there, he's shaking his head, not too happy coming off as you would expect, but fresh legs for Arsenal. PSG going to make a change. Going to see Bradley Barcola come on. He's going to replace Kavika Kvaratskhelia. Might not have got his goal or an assist tonight, but maybe an assist of sorts in winning the penalty that Dembele dispatched. And Bradley Barcola, young French sensation, he's on to replace him. And that's their first sub of the game, PSG. Bradley Barcola. Scored just 2 Champions League goals this season. Using Capier on the left side, helped along with Havertz. And Capier flicked over the top by Rice there, but no room for Gyökeres to get on the end of, and Marquinhos scrambles clear. I love it. I love it. What are we going to get? Is there a winner incoming? You feel there's something though. You do feel it. Declan Rice to take this long throw for Arsenal. 6 minutes of normal time to go. Rice to deliver. Long into the box. Flicked on to the front post. Bounces down. Couple of players in the mix as PSG scrambling away. Less from convincing, but here come PSG on the breakaway. Ball in behind. Barcola and chase. Barcola's got fresh legs and he's gone away from his man. But Raya's there. Fabulous from the Arsenal goalkeeper. We thought Bradley Barcola was going to find the net there. Wonderful from David Raya, but here come PSG again. Barcola in the box trying to dribble through but loses possession. Gabriel Martinelli gets double teamed there with Neves and Marquinhos winning it back. Vitinha going to hit one from range. Bit silly there really as PSG recycle. This is getting exciting. Is there a winner to be found? Bradley Barcola was bearing down on the goal, but David Raya was there with a big stop. Less than 5 on the clock, plus the additional time. Ruiz, Vitinha, Marquinhos, right to Doué, first time pass to Achraf Hakimi, back to João Neves. Now Hakimi again, he's got Doué with him, lays it off to the Frenchman, back to João Neves. Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, Barcola. Ruiz, Vitinha, Marquinhos, keeping it moving PSG. Achraf Hakimi down the right, onto his right foot, breaking towards the byline, gets the cross blocked for the corner. Capier's been doing that all night. This is the moment. Barcola with the fresh legs just charged past Saliba, and I think the second touch just let him down, showed a little too much of it to David Raya, and that's when he made the decision to come for it. Made the big stop. Huge moment. Dembele swung in. Bounces down. Cleared away from the box. Set up for Vitinha. Didn't hit it cleanly, but it's cleared away by Arsenal. Oh, and it's miscue. Oh, it's a terrible miscue by Nuno Mendes, but Arsenal on the break now. Can they find the right ball? No. Martinelli couldn't thread it through. You have to say, this game, I do think there's a winner coming. I do. This game's got really open the last 15 minutes. It's been really enjoyable the last 15-20 minutes. Since PSG equalised, it's been much more open, much more enjoyable. João Neves. Marquinhos. Fired out to the right for Doué. Is that a quiet night tonight, Desiré Doué? So many PSG players have. Achraf Hakimi into the mix. Neves got himself involved, got it something to that. Will drop for Ruiz on the left. He swings it in deep. Hakimi at the back post. Battling it in Capier, and it goes out for an Arsenal goal kick. Well, Luis Enrique, this is his third Champions League final as a manager. His first was 11 years ago when he led Barcelona to their title in 2015. And of course last season with PSG won it. He's won both his previous Champions League final appearances as a boss. 100% record. And his overall 64% win rate in the Champions League is the highest of any manager with at least 50 games in the competition. And that is the highest win rate of any manager in history of the Champions League. Incredible. Here's Gabriel Martinelli. He was trying to snatch the ball away from him. Back to Gabriel, all the way back to David Raya. Last minute and a half of the 90. We'll see how long's added on at the end. Of course, we have the drinks break and the substitutions. Gyökeres trying to hold up, but no one there to make the run off Gyökeres. Pacho launches forward, looking for Doué. Another picture perfect ball. Perfectly taken down by Doué. Little bit of space, can he edge it on? Oh! Jesus, just over the crossbar by Vitinha. Goodness me, I thought that was going in. I thought that was 2-1. Doué just snuck it towards Vitinha and he hit it first time cleanly towards the top left corner. Oh my goodness, I thought that was in. Wonderful switch ball by William Pacho. Beautiful takedown by Desiré Doué. And he just gets clogged up again. We've seen it all night. But this time he gets that extra little touch to take it onto Vitinha right on the edge of the D. And he swipes onto it beautifully. And it was arrowing towards that top left corner and it just caught the top of the netting. Oh my goodness me. Well, this is a worry for Arsenal. David Raya is down. Their goalkeeper is down with a bit of cramp. Now that's a bit of time wasting, or whether he genuinely is feeling cramp. He will be crucial. Goodness me. 6 added minutes then. Like there was in the first half. 6 more to go in the seconds. The PSG fans, their new kit. I have to say I love the new PSG kit. I like the lighter blue. The lighter blue with the bright red, it is really nice. Nerves all around. I think mostly from Arsenal fans. Every shot we see of PSG fans, they're having a great time. They're enjoying themselves out there. Is there a normal time winner? Or does it need to be separated by extra time? What is it now? Do you go for the winner? Or do you try and hold out for extra time? What's the mentality? would they be thinking? What will both teams be thinking at this stage? Arsenal give it away a little cheaply there. Barkley trying to take on his man, but nice challenge by Rice. Sees it out for the throw. It's over 4 minutes of the 6 added, but of course we were stopped for a good minute of that. Dembele's not in the best of ways. Hamstring issue possibly for Ousmane Dembele. Gonzalo Ramos would be a direct replacement for Ousmane Dembele, but they can have some readjustments of that front line PSG and work someone else in. But he is the man at the moment who would have the difference. He's the man who got PSG back into this. Ousmane Dembele, is Gyökeres giving away the foul on João Neves. Three and a half minutes. Marquinhos to Doué. It looks like Gonzalo Ramos is the one that's getting himself ready. He would be the straight swap for Ousmane Dembele. Maybe they're just holding it about here, PSG, to wait till he can come on, although Doué's got it. Finds Hakimi. Back to Desiree Doué. Achraf Hakimi. Fabian Ruiz. Marquinhos. Vitinha. Back to Marquinhos. Remember, if it's level after 90 minutes, extra time and penalties would be the next course of action. Desiree Doué, beautiful footwork. Tries to swing it across low. Cleared away by Gabriel, but straight back to Doué, who crosses differently this time. Barkley tries to take control. Does just enough to allow PSG to recycle. Pacho. Marquinhos. Fabian Ruiz. Gets it back to his captain. Hakimi. Ruiz. Back to Achraf Hakimi. Gonzalo Ramos continues to wait to enter the fray here. The ball hasn't been out of play since he was emerged from the bench. Still he waits. Marquinhos directs it down the right side. Achraf Hakimi inside to João Neves, but he has to work it out wide to find the gaps of space. Vitinha. Mendes down the left hand side. Again, Bradley Barkley is the one in the mix, but Doué escape the area to keep that in play. Marquinhos giving a little glimmer here. He sees it out wide to Hakimi. Just recycling the possession, PSG, waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the opportunity. Arsenal just stay and wait. Stay in shape. Trying to keep a hold of this. Fabian Ruiz. He's going to swing one round the back post. Barkley made the run, but that's well defended by Urian Timber. And Arsenal might want to spring a brick here. That's a good foul from João Neves. A sensible yellow card to get at this rate for João Neves. He gets a yellow card. Both teams worked incredibly hard in this game, you can see it. As Ousmane Dembele, PSG's penalty hero with the leveller, is replaced by Gonzalo Ramos. You kind of feel Dembele's much more fluid in his positioning than Gonzalo Ramos. He's much more right up the middle, right centre. Directly up top. Free kick here for Arsenal. Long ball by Raya towards the area. Flecked on. Bounces around. Gabriel keeps it alive. Can Arsenal have one chance to try and snatch it? Martinelli going to swing it in deep. Headed round the back. Cleared away by Fabian Ruiz. Saliba launches it out to the right hand side. Noni Madueke cuts it back for Urian Timber. Nice Saliba, swings it into the box, headed away by Marquinhos. Rice got to let it get away from him. And now Bradley Barcola is away again. He's breaking free. Bradley Barcola, will he miss his chance again? Barcola! Oh, hits it over and wide. Oh, goodness me. Twice Bradley Barcola's been in 1v1 and twice he hasn't been able to find the net. Goodness me. Yeah, catches it, roll wrong. Well, that is the end of the 90. Well, that was a huge chance. That was the winning chance there for Bradley Barcola. Extra time we go to then. 30 more minutes to decide the winner of the 2026 Champions League final. After 90, it is finished. PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Extra time on the way next. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in, the header is in! By Virgil van Dijk! Incredible! Welcome back to Champions League Live for the 2026 Champions League final. After 90 minutes, it is finished all square between PSG and Arsenal. Kai Havertz's early goal was cancelled out when Ousmane Dembele fired in from the spot to give PSG an equaliser. And that is all she wrote for the first 90 minutes, but 30 more to come. And who will be able to snatch it? If they can't, either of them, penalties will be needed to decide a winner, of course, in your traditional way. And we cannot wait to see what's coming. As we're about to enter extra time. 30 more minutes, of course. 2 15-minute halves, if I can get my words out. If they can't decide a winner after that, then a penalty shootout will be needed. And this is the first time that a Champions League final has went to extra time since 2016. 10 years. And that one was decided via penalties that year. And Real Madrid beat Atletico on penalties after a 1-1 draw. Arsenal will get us underway like they did in the first half of normal time. 30 minutes to try and claim destiny. We're back underway here in Budapest. It was an early kickoff. They must have knew this was going the full distance, you feel. And I'm not complaining for another 30 minutes of these two teams doing battle. PSG get an early free kick. João Neves brought down around the middle of the field. Arsenal did make some changes, by the way, during that break. Martin Zubimendi and Eberiche Eze are on. Miles Lewis-Skelly and Kai Havertz have been replaced. So a double Arsenal sub. That is all 6 of their substitutes used, because you have 5 in normal time and you get a 6th into extra time. And they've used all 6 of them now, have Arsenal. Vitinha. Very enjoyable game so far, I have to say. Certainly the second half more than the first, but enjoyed it. Who's going to win it? Nuno Mendes. Down the line to Bradley Barcola. So 2 huge chances to give PSG a second goal in this game. First was smothered by David Raya. The second was directed wide by Barcola. Eberiche Eze. Lovely ball, finds Madueke. Arsenal are on the move here. Madueke across. Pacho behind for the corner. Beautifully done by William Pacho, but the ball by Eze to find Madueke on the right flank. As he tried to cross at Madueke towards Gyökeres. William Pacho was in the way. Corner to Arsenal. They've been outnumbered by corners tonight. This is their first corner of the night. They were given a corner late in the first half. They weren't allowed to take it, so technically they didn't have a corner. So this is their first registered corner of the game. PSG have had 10. Madueke to take. Left-footed delivery in, swinger headed away at the front post. And another one will come. Gonzalo Ramos with the defensive header at the front post. Look at the nerves. Those fans. Arsenal colours. I don't blame them. I really don't. Seems like a once-in-a-generation moment, this. They don't want it to be, but it has turned out that way. Madueke to take this corner, as he did the first. Take 2. Left-footed by Madueke again, front post, but that time was off target. Straight out for a goal kick. There's the set-piece coach of Arsenal. I mean, there's never a game where he doesn't get pictured. Or a set-piece coach for a team that's good at set-pieces. There's never a game where they don't get their moment on camera. They're an important part of the team, but I mean, in my opinion, they get overhyped. But anyway, we're not going there. Timber to take this throw. Throws it backwards to Saliba. Right, David Raya under pressure, goes long. William Pacho does well to get the measure of Eze. Seen down the line by João Neves. For Barcola to chase, picked up by Saliba. Again to Raya, who will again launch long. Nacho won the header, but it directed away from PSG, and it's brought down by Madwecki. Madwecki with a bit of space. Hit Timber, and as he tried to run, took down João Neves, and that's been given as a foul. Daniel Siebert. Some question marks over his decisions against Arsenal tonight, some are saying, but see this again. Yeah, he just catches him in the face. I mean, it's accidental, but it is a foul. It's definitely a foul. PSG substitution incoming. Fabian Ruiz going to be replaced by Warren Zaire-Emery, who for a lot of the season has been in the PSG midfield. Warren Zaire-Emery, major part of them getting to this stage, and he's on here in extra time. Ruiz, the end of his night. Long ball by Safonov. No way through there. Well, some will forget Warren Zaire-Emery, a very versatile player. He can play further forward, can play directly in midfield, and he's played it right back this season. He played it right back against Bayern Munich in the semis. So he certainly gives his all when he's on the field for PSG, there's no doubt about that. Raya gets a little excited with his clearance there, trying to find Piero Nkapie, and that's straight out for a throw to PSG. Achraf Hakimi to take this throw in. To Desiree Doué, who's dropping in cover for PSG. I mean, they'll do any... that's what I love about this PSG team. I think they're an absolute top-tier team. It's because they will play... Each and every one of their players will play in any position. They'll move to any spot on the pitch just so they can get the balls, just so they can help keep possession, just so they can help the team. It's such a selfless act. I love it. I really do love the way this PSG team's built, and it's all on Luis Enrique. I mean, he's done an absolutely unbelievable job to turn this team into the superstar team, to one of the most hard-working teams in Europe. It's an unbelievable job what he's done. Created such an incredible mentality at PSG. João Neves wins the free kick, brought down around the edge of his own area by Arsenal. Forward, flicked on by Ramos, and Gabriel got there first. As Raya again takes no risks in launching long. PSG won the first and second ball. Do take down possession. Doué. Neves though gets a little bit loose and trying to lob it forward for Hakimi, and win it back here. Arsenal with Rice. Oh, Martinelli gets caught on the ball, and beautifully won back by PSG. Gonzalo Ramos brought down there by Victor Gyökeres. That's going to be a foul, and it's going to be a yellow card for a number of fouls Gyökeres has committed in the game. It's not looked great since he's come on, Victor Gyökeres. He's looked a little off it. Hasn't been able to get into the game, and giving away the foul, and he's got a yellow card for his troubles too. Gonzalo Ramos just dragged back there by Gyökeres. Definitely a foul, definitely a yellow card. Nail-biting tension. Free kick for PSG. Vitinha is over it. The referee sorting out one or two little scuffles. Fairly central, about 35 yards out. Vitinha swings round the back post. Half cleared by Nkapie, and then trying the cross again. Zubimendi with the block. I don't know what Dembele's remonstrating about down there on the bench, but they certainly want to get a shot of the Ballon d'Or holder. No idea what that's about. Zaire-Emery. Neves. Vitinha. Back to Marquinhos. Warren Zaire-Emery. Nuno Mendes. Really good movement again from PSG, but Arsenal solid in their defence. Kimi. Nice ball. Ramos dropping a little deeper, helping out. Kimi drifting forward. Here he's going to go for goal. Again, very similar to PSG in the first half. Just wasteful shots from the edge of the box, and that was another one from Achraf Hakimi. But wasted as we hit the 100-minute mark across the full game. 10 minutes into extra time. Look at both benches, the nerves from both sets of players. I mean, it's so important. I mean, it's obvious that it's so important, but the sheer importance sometimes gets forgotten about how important this is. I mean, PSG on the cusp of doing something quite historic and wanting to go back-to-back winners of the competition. Arsenal looking to do something historic for their football club and win it for the very first time. It is historic, it is huge, whatever comes. Eze shielding the ball well, finding it back to Gabriel. Clipping it out to the far right hand side. Madueke with a nice first touch. Takes it away from Nuno Mendes, who's back in and defending, and Mendes gets his body in the way. They want the penalty there, Arsenal, but look, to me, Nuno Mendes was brought down by Madueke, but nonetheless, they'll have a look at it VAR as PSG break away the other way. Vitinha. Down the right-hand side it comes. Desiree Doué. No VAR indication at the moment. They are certain that it was a penalty here. They are incessant that it's a penalty, Arsenal. Kimi on the right hand side. Vitinha trying to link it up and combine. Zaire-Emery does well. Holds on to it just enough. Doué. Zaire-Emery. Doué. Vitinha keeps it alive. It might clip into the area, but Gabriel thumps it away. Bounce back for Safonov, but they're all appealing for a possible penalty here, Arsenal, but there was no VAR, there was no indication VAR were having a look at it, and from what I could see, I mean, it's very distant view, but it looked like Mendes got back in and was shielding the ball, then he was brought down. But we'll have to see a replay. I'm not too sure of whether that's correct. Declan Rice has been given a yellow card. Someone on the Arsenal bench, I think Mikel Arteta, has actually been given the yellow card. They were incessant. I think we have to have a look at it again. They're desperate for a penalty, Arsenal, but the referee just having to get this game back under control again. Arteta has been booked, as has Declan Rice. See it again. Ooh. Nuno Mendes didn't get in. He was well muscled. Nah, not enough for me. They're both going shoulder to shoulder. They're both going for the ball. They both go down. I mean, there's no blatant action from Nuno Mendes where I think he has fouled Noni Madueke, and I don't think it's a penalty. Shoulder to shoulder, not for me. Last minute of the first 15 of extra time, and there's a stoppage. Piero Nkapie is down for the moment, so he's just got back to his feet, but that's why there was the stoppage. And for me, I can understand the Arsenal frustration, but for me, Nuno Mendes just did enough, really, defensively, just to hold off Noni Madueke. And I think, yes, they both go to the ground, but I don't think there's a discerning action that you could argue that it was a foul by Nuno Mendes on Noni Madueke. But if it was given, you couldn't argue against it, but I don't think it's a penalty, in my opinion. I just think it's a little soft. Some would argue the referee's been giving soft decisions tonight, and I wouldn't disagree with that either. I think he has been given a couple of soft calls this evening, the referee, but not on that occasion. Right, 2 added minutes on top of the 15 in extra time, so two added minutes at the end of extra time. João Neves. Pacho. Marquinhos. Vitinha. João Neves. Down the right for Hakimi. Not sure if Hakimi breaking down the right flank. Blocked off well by Gabriel Martinelli that time. It will be a throw-in to PSG. Last minute of the 2 added at the end of the first half of extra time. Pacho. Mendes. Trying to clip it round the corner for Desiree Doué, but not on the same page there, those two. Zaire Emery does well though, bounce in and win the ball back for PSG, but again, lack of options there to combine with, and Arsenal able to win it back for the moment. Eze backwards to Martin Zubamendi. Gabriel to Capier, finding Gyökeres with a flick on, seen out forward throw-in to PSG. And that calls to an end the first half of extra time. So 15 down, 15 to go. And boos and jeers from the Arsenal end in the direction of the officials, as they wanted a penalty. But not in my opinion. I said it was soft. I didn't think it was. But at half time and extra time it remains 1-1. 15 minutes to go. Welcome back. That's not the score. I can tell you that's not the score. To the Champions League final. It is 1-1 between PSG and Arsenal at the half-time of extra time. 15 minutes to go before a possible penalty shootout is needed to decide a Champions League final for the first time in 10 years. So it has been a while. That could be on the cards as the sun descends across Budapest. Who will rise up as the kings of Europe come the end of this game tonight? They're going to make some half-time substitutions here. PSG, Ilya Zabani and Lucas Beraldo. Some defensive changes. So a double sub there. Marquinhos and Vitinha are off. So a double PSG substitution. That is going to ring out. He doesn't look good, Vitinha. That's an enforced decision, it looks like. And I don't know why you would bring your captain off, Marquinhos, but they must be enforced decisions for Luis Enrique. A double sub at half-time and extra time. 15 minutes to go. PSG try and retain their title. Arsenal look to claim it for the very first time. As we get back underway here in Budapest. Controversial penalty decision, but not controversial in my opinion. I didn't think it was a penalty. Some disagree, but I don't really care. I didn't think it was a penalty, in my opinion. But we play on. Is there a winning goal? Or will penalties need to decide it? It's been a while. As I said, 2016, the last time a Champions League game, a Champions League final went down to a penalty shootout. Zaire Emery chasing for the ball. Desiree Doué's worked ever so hard throughout the night. The only attacker that survived for PSG out there from the very beginning. Everyone else has been swapped. Dembele taken out, as was Kvaratskhelia. Doué remains. Ball forward towards Barcola. Barcola heads it across. Raya got his hand to it, and he was out of his goal as well. Neves tried to retrieve, but he would have scrambled it away there. Arsenal. David Raya. Big save. Did here the switch ball, and Barcola just gets there ahead of Gabriel. He's a little bit passive defensively. Or Nkapie, sorry, apologies. And then Raya comes grasping across to take it away from Gonzalo Ramos in the middle. Good moment. Big moment. Here's Desiree Doué hugging the touchline on the left. Waiting to measure one. Finds the measure to Gonzalo Ramos, who slipped but still gets back up with the ball. Finds Desiree Doué. Doué trying to dribble his way through, trying to get the shot off, blocked. Cycled by Zaire Emery. Ilya Zabani. Hakimi. Zaire Emery. Hakimi. One for the early cross. Took a little deflection, but straight into the hands of the Arsenal goalkeeper. With a hell of a launch there into the air, right to the halfway line. It's got the height behind it. Taken in by Arsenal here with Nkapie to Gabriel. Right. Flicked forward for Rice. And one by Lucas Beraldo. PSG can't retrieve the ball. Here's Noni Madueke. Doué with a lazy leg. That's going to be a free kick. Noni Madueke winning the free kick. Yeah, lazy leg from Desiree Doué. Smart from Noni Madweki. It's made a difference since he's come on, Madweki. It's caused some problems down that side. He's got them a free kick here. In a dangerous, dangerous area. Declan Rice again to take. Darts his eyes across to find a target. Rice swung it in. Safonov got a strong right hand to clear it away. Ashraf Hakimi, who has the captain's armband now for PSG, with of course Marquinhos going off. He shields it and allows PSG to retain possession. Nuno Mendes trying to ping one forward. What a fabulous pass to Warren Zaire-Emery, who skips away from one and is beaten to it by Martinelli. Good strong defending there from the winger. As Nkapie tries to lift it over the top for Gyökeres, but Zabarnyi did well to carry it back to his goalkeeper. João Neves now, crossing the halfway line. Just over 10 minutes to go of extra time. Neves, Hakimi. Mendes. On the line to Doué. Beraldo breaking forward. Beraldo out to that left-hand side. Lucas Beraldo. There's a bit of room. Gonna reverse it back to Nuno Mendes. And he's gonna switch it across to Ilya Zabarnyi. Hakimi. Beraldo. Hakimi. Done this all night, PSG, controlling the ball, controlling possession. Is there an end product? Not from open play tonight. They haven't been able to find end product. Hakimi. Oh, Neves did well. The beat past his man there, and Zubamendi. And Zubamendi did just enough to get back. It will be a corner though. Zubamendi had the last touch before it crossed the byline. Right. Corner it is to PSG. They've started to get a little nervous now. Well, at least some of them have. Some of them are still out there enjoying themselves, having fun. On the PSG end, it's a party atmosphere there in that end. Desiree Doué for PSG's 11th corner of the game. That's a sensational number. Right-footed delivery, cleared away at the front post. Not a sensational delivery though. Although Arsenal trying to scram on the counter-attack. Easily seen away by Warren Zaire-Emery. I'm getting nervous. I don't know why I'm getting nervous. I'm a complete neutral, but it's just the tension that arises in these late stages of these games. I love it. First time I've commentated on a Champions League final that's gone to extra time. First time for everything. It's the first Champions League final I've commentated on that both teams have scored. First time that's happened since 2018. Both teams have scored in a Champions League final. João Neves. Desiree Doué. The pace has majorly dropped, but that's indicative of extra time. Fatigue stretching in. Is there a moment? Always seem to get a chance. Both teams always get a chance to win it. Can they take it? Ball swung into the box. Raya watched it all the way and was comfortable there. Sana Ramos was the threat, but Raya was well comfortable. Nevis trying to win the header there. So Barney won the second ball. Rice battling for Arsenal, but nicely headed away by Beraldo. A bit of danger there, but Gabriel and Saliba mop it up well together as that duo combine. Zubimendi, Rice, lumping it forward, taken in by Nuno Mendes on his chest, but he was outrun by Noni Madueke as they win it back Arsenal quickly. Timber, Rice, back to David Raya. The freestyle singing, the jeering, the kind of energy has just turned to real kind of tension, anticipation. Nerves have taken over from both camps. You can feel it, you can sense it. Eze squeezing it through, trying to find Madueke, just a little heavy from Eze, and that will run through to Safonov. Those two have combined well 1 or 2 times in the game so far, and that was almost another one. Just not quite on that occasion. As the clock ticks closer to penalties. 5 minutes of this Champions League final to go before penalties will be needed. Barcola trying to dribble his way through. Halted it for the moment. Hakimi to Beraldo. João Neves now. Ilya Zabani. Neves to Zabani. Hakimi. Barcola. PSG just passing it around with ease. Barcola trying to lift one into the box. Away by Gabriel. They've dealt with every cross they've faced tonight, Arsenal, with pure quality. They've dealt with it really well. Doué. Oh, bit of a dangerous square ball, but it works out just about. Neves. Beraldo. Mendes to Pacho. Zabani down the right for Doué. Spins inside. Nice ball finding Beraldo. Hakimi. Desiree Doué again. There's the moment of magic on the horizon. Neves. Barney, Pacho, Mendes, Ronaldo. It's just constant repetition of the PSG players' names at the moment. They just keep it moving. Arsenal sitting deep and PSG keep probing to try and find the next goal, the next moment. João Neves, he breaks the legs of Nkapie there, tries to clip it across, drops here, Doué with a little flick. Oh, and as it dropped, Raya was on the end of it, but for a moment there, it might have just snatched away from the Arsenal keeper. That's going to be a foul. That's going to be a yellow for Nuno Mendes. That one was a foul. No doubt about it. You knew it there, Nuno Mendes. But this moment, João Neves just gets to the byline, cuts it across. It comes off the head of Gabriel, and as he swung at it, Doué, it might have just dipped, but Raya had control of it. Raya had it under the measure. And Mendes penalised for the pull back on Madueke. Definitely a foul and definitely a yellow card. 2.5 minutes of 120. Raya to take this free kick. Gabriel's run forward. Saliba stayed in cover. Raya's launch is too much. All the way through for a goal kick. And this has got to the point where you kind of feel maybe one moment of individual brilliance or a mistake might decide this. Otherwise, penalties is on the way. I don't think either side would complain if it did go to penalties. They both look absolutely gassed. Look at the disparity between the two. PSG dominating possession, over 70% of it. 19 shots to Arsenal's 4. 4 on target, to Arsenal's 1. But Arsenal in behind here. Chance! Oh, hit the side netting from the very narrow angle from Jurrien Timber. Oh. Yeah, he took it there, Jurrien Timber. Just got the better of his man. Wasn't too far away. Not a bad effort, you got to say, from Jurrien Timber there. 1 minute to go. They might add some time on. They usually do. Goodness me. Goodness me. Well, PSG won't have their star penalty taker. It does go to spot kicks. He was subbed off, but as was Vika Kvaratskhelia, who's also confident from the spot. Zubimendi holding it off, but not there yet. Zubimendi. Rice. Is there one last chance for Arsenal? One more opportunity. Madueke onto his left. Gonna cross it in. Beraldo got his head to it. Kept alive by Gabriel. Gyökeres trying to spin into space. Gyökeres shot deflected. Wide it goes. Corner it will be. They're calling handball. Mikel Arteta says handball. Well, Gyökeres got a glimpse, a glimmer. We're into added time on extra time now. Did it come off a hand? No, it definitely didn't. Come off the leg of Willian Pacho. But Arsenal with a corner in the dying seconds of the Champions League final to try and win it. If there's ever a situation Arsenal would want, it's a corner. In this moment, is this the chance to sink the European champions? It's their bread and butter. It's their forte. Madueke to deliver. Left-footed. Headed up in by Barkla from the front post. Lots of collisions. Safonov couldn't get it clear. And it is cleared. Not fully though. Rice has a swing. Deflected around. Goodness me. Hakimi gets in the way of it and it's blocked behind for the goal kick. Oh. Mental. And that's going to wrap it up. 121 minutes and more. And it's a penalty shootout to decide the Champions League final for the first time since 2016. After extra time, it is finished. Paris Saint-Germain 1, Arsenal 1. It's spot kicks to decide the winner. That's next. Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. A very good evening. Welcome back to the 2026 Champions League final. Penalties to decide it. No better way to win it, and no worse way to lose it. But one will win and one will lose. Who will emerge victorious? I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe this is the first penalty shootout of the Champions League this season. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a long while. It's huge. It's really huge. Well, the last time either of these two faced a penalty shootout in this competition, they both won them. They can't both win. That is clear. As they do the coin toss, Achraf Hakimi and Declan Rice, the auxiliary captains of the two clubs, of course, not the club captains. The PSG win the toss, and it will be at their ends that the penalties will be taken. Hakimi celebrates with that one, and it's now who's going to take first. Toss to decide who's going to take first and who's going to take second. PSG win the toss again, and they want to go first. So PSG first at their end. The European champions have all the advantage you could want in a Champions League penalty shootout to decide a winner. Now it is all down to this. At least 10 penalties to decide who will be European champions. It could be less, it could be more. But two key men that could make the difference. David Raya and the PSG goalkeeper, Matvei Safonov. But this is what it's all about. PSG won a shootout against Liverpool last season. That was their last Champions League penalty shootout. Last season against Liverpool in the round of 16. Arsenal's was in the round of 16 the previous season. They beat Porto 4-2 on penalties. Now, it's in the biggest game of the season to decide the champions of Europe. I mean, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. Here we go. PSG will take first. It will be Gonzalo Ramos. Came off the bench for the man who scored the penalty to level the game for PSG in the first half. Or in the second half to make it 1-1. Can he give PSG a lead with the first penalty of the shootout? Gonzalo Ramos. David Raya is trying his delay in tactics. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, Raya. If ever there's a moment to call upon him, it's now. Both sets of fans are nervous. And Ramos is having to wait a bit longer because the referee is going to relay the rules to both sets of goalkeepers about being on the line and all of that. Gonzalo Ramos, maybe, got a little too excited. The Portuguese hasn't scored since April for PSG when he scored against Toulouse in a 3-1 win. Scored just 2 Champions League goals this season, Gonzalo Ramos. But there will be no bigger moment than this for him this season in front of goal for Paris Saint-Germain. Up against David Raya. Gonzalo Ramos to give PSG the lead in the shootout. With his first spot kick. Ramos finds the net. What a fabulous penalty. Cracking penalty. Right in front of the PSG fans. Top right corner. Raya dived the wrong way. 1-0 PSG. Class penalty. Absolute class. That is fabulous. No saving that penalty. Next up, another substitute striker, Viktor Gyökeres. The take for Arsenal. He scored from the spot in the semi-finals against Atletico in the away leg to tie things up. Can he tie it up in the shootout in the final? Viktor Gyökeres hasn't had much in front of goal all night. Matvei Safonov up against him. Gyökeres finds the net. 1-1. Keeper dived the wrong way again, and advantage taken by Viktor Gyökeres, and he ties it up in the shootout. You see it again, little run up. Was always going to the right, and the keeper went the wrong way. 1-1. Who knows, this could go the distance too. One down. Both scored by each team. Desiree Doué scored a brace in the last Champions League final. It's been quiet all night tonight, but is this his moment? Desiree Doué from the penalty spot for PSG to try and give PSG the lead again in the shootout. It's going to go straight. He's going to drift to the left. Doué rolls it into the net. That is as cool as you like from Desiree Doué, who will celebrate his 21st birthday next week. Well, he is cool and calm as anything there. And Desiree Doué makes it 2-1 PSG. Lovely. Again, Raya dived the wrong way. All three penalties scored. Eze up next for Arsenal. Eberechi Eze. He scored against Newcastle in a winner, and has scored against Leverkusen in the Champions League this season, his most recent goals. Eze to step up in the shootout to again try and tie it up for the Gunners. Eze against Safonov. Eze! Oh, he's missed it! He's missed the target! Safonov stood still, and Eze couldn't hit the back of the nets. Struck it wide, and Arsenal blinked first in the shootout. It's really... He was going to that bottom left, and he just striked it wide. Wow, wow, wow. And after 4 penalties, PSG have scored there too. Arsenal have scored one and missed one. And now, Nuno Mendes to step up for PSG to try and give them a 2-goal lead in the shootout. This is where it could turn. Score, and PSG have got one hell of an advantage. But David Raya could save Arsenal. Nuno Mendes, left-footed, saved by Raya. PSG blink, as do Arsenal. Both have missed a penalty. This one, a David Raya save to stop it, and Nuno Mendes couldn't give PSG a 2-goal lead. Yeah, you could see it all day long what was going to happen, and David Raya knew exactly what was coming next when Nuno Mendes has run up, and he made a big save. 2-1 it remains, and Arsenal with a chance with their 3rd penalty to tie it up once again in the shootout. Raya saved them again. Now Rice. Declan Rice against Matvei Safonov. PSG 2, Arsenal 1. Arsenal to take their 3rd penalty to try and level it. Rice stepping up. Declan Rice with a run up. Rice slots it in. 2-2. We're back on level terms. With 2 penalties apiece to go at least. It is level pegging once again. And is the pressure back on PSG to keep scoring after Arsenal missed the first penalty out of the 2 teams? PSG couldn't take advantage, and now Arsenal have levelled it again. And with a chance, PSG have to keep scoring. And Arsenal do too. 4th penalty for PSG. Achraf Hakimi, who took the captain's armband off Marquinhos. Hakimi to step up. Raya has already made 1 save. Can he do it again? Hakimi finds the fabulous finish. 3-2. Raya went the wrong way. And a really coolly taken penalty by Achraf Hakimi. No pressure was getting to him. Lovely penalty. Beautiful penalty. No silly little bits. Step up, run up, pick your spot and shoot. Very simple. Easier said than done, no doubt about it, but it's a simple product. Gabriel Martinelli for Arsenal to make it 3-3. Martinelli against Safonov. Martinelli finds it, and that's a fabulous penalty. Top corner, top left, and Gabriel Martinelli makes it 3-3. Well, this is the decider. PSG score, Arsenal then have to score. PSG miss, and then if Arsenal score on the back of it, the game could be over. Great penalty, much needed. These are the deciding ones. The 5th penalties could shake it all up, could make the difference. This is the difference between winning and losing. Lucas Beraldo for PSG. Certainly a bit of a surprise to take the 5th PSG penalty. Maybe lacking a few options in this situation. But Lucas Beraldo to step up, finds the net. That's a fabulous finish. That's probably the best quality penalty of the night. Into the side netting. That's a fabulous penalty. 4-3. And now it's on Arsenal. Have to score. Miss and PSG retain the title. Score and we go to sudden death. Gabriel. The Arsenal centre-back usually scores with his head, but it's his feet that have to come up clutch here. Score and we go to sudden death, but miss. And PSG have done it again. That is what is at stake. That is what's on the line here, right now. Gabriel against Matvei Safonov. This has to be scored. Gabriel, little run up. Oh, he skied it over the bar. PSG are European champions once again. Gabriel absolutely looped it over the crossbar. And the European champions will have another year of their reign. Back-to-back European champions. PSG. What an incredible run. What an incredible job. Arsenal came ever so close. But when it counted, when it mattered, when it needed to go in, it didn't. And that is so heartbreaking for Arsenal, for Gabriel, and for one side of North London, and for one side of the Puskas Arena. But for the other, delirium, absolute pandemonium. And Paris Saint-Germain are champions of Europe for another year it will be. Goodness me, the most dramatic, chaotic, an exciting ending. You couldn't have asked for it any better. It came down to the last and decisive penalty. And European champions once again. PSG are the champions of Europe for another year. And my goodness, it was a roller coaster. But it was an absolute thriller from the start to finish. The first time a Champions League final has been decided by penalties in 10 years. And by God, it delivered. Arsenal will be so heartbroken. But you have to say, it's a moment that will go down as an awful one for Arsenal, but a magical one for PSG. It's so disappointing for Arsenal. It's so disheartening to come all the way and not get it done. It's the worst way to lose, but it is 100% the best way to win, and that is what PSG are feeling. That winning feeling. They have retained the Champions League for the first time any team has done that since Real Madrid won 3 in a row between 2016 and 2018. And what a super team that Luis Enrique has built, has created, has grown from the ground up. This was a team that a number of years ago couldn't win a tough game, had all the superstar quality but none of the fight. Well, these players under Luis Enrique have shown time and time again that they are never beaten, that they can never be stopped. And they are champions of Europe for the second successive season, and deservedly so. There it is, confirmation. PSG are the champions. And what a thrilling ending to this Champions League final. Oh my goodness me. Oh wow. Oh wow. Absolutely sensational stuff. I mean, for Luis Enrique and these players, it wasn't the easy way. I mean, they break a couple of records. They're the first team in 12 years to go behind and win the Champions League trophy. The first team to do it via penalties in 10 years. And they needed penalties to do it. A penalty from Ousmane Dembele to level in the normal time, and a penalty shootout to confirm it after all was said and done. Wow. Heartbreaking end of the season for Arsenal, but they've come so close so many times before, but once again they fall at the final hurdle, but not, and take nothing away from them. They were fantastic on the night, Arsenal. They defended PSG so resolutely tonight at times. But what do we say about the best teams? They find a way, they get a moment, and they snatch it. They take it with full grasp, and they get the job done. That is what this team has. A winning mentality that is absolutely invincible, unstoppable, unbreakable. And PSG, for the second successive season, are the champions of Europe. Incredible. What do they say about London buses? It took them 55 years of their history, since they were founded in 1970, PSG, to reach the mountain. Well, they have done it again. They reached the peak 12 months ago. They walked all the way down and had to climb all the way back up again. This time it was much more tough. But this time, they've done it again. And they're the champions once again. I mean, absolutely fabulous. I love it. I absolutely love it. What an incredible, incredible game. What an incredible Champions League final. Champions of Europe in two very different ways, PSG. Champions by just blasting and blowing the opponent away last season in Inter Milan. But Arsenal, credit to them. I have to say, you know, no matter what you say, no matter what you think, Arsenal are a great team. There's no doubt about that. And they did a good job tonight. But just not enough. And credit to Mikel Arteta and his players. They gave PSG an incredibly good game. But the best find a way. Winners win. And that is the difference on the night. Arsenal, credit to them, they've had a fabulous season. The champions of England, but not quite conquered Europe this time. You gotta say, PSG had to do it the hard way, but they did it nonetheless, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. After a thrilling ending to this Champions League final, it is finished. After extra time, it finished PSG 1, Arsenal 1. PSG win 4-3 on penalties. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a wonderful, wonderful season here with you on LFS across the campaign and the club season. The 25-26 season has just concluded. We'll be back in August with a new club season, but we have got this to look forward to in the meantime. Can't wait for this. And there the World Cup gets underway in just under 2 weeks' time. Mexico against South Africa is our first game, Thursday the 11th of June, to kick off the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And we can't wait to join you for that. We'll have all the build-up content from a week before the first game, from Thursday this week. We'll take a couple of days off and we'll regroup with you, ready for the World Cup to start, to take your summer by storm, and we cannot wait. Mexico, South Africa, the first game of the World Cup gets underway on Thursday the 11th of June. But after what was a fabulous Champions League final, very different from last season, but the same result. PSG are the champions of Europe once again. Night night.